Let's start this shit. Right. I think I need to share this as well.
I better put
Never
YouTube
know.
up.
Someone might want to watch it. You never know. Never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Shut up. Alright, there we are.
Oh, sorry, Jakey. I thought you was me.
No, there was a video playing.
Right, let's get that on Facebook.
Are we live, are we?
We are live.
Oh, that's a good start. We got 2 people watching already. Sound off. What a start to the Premier League.
Post.
Flawless gaming.
Right then. It's flawless in and ready.
Man United. Also, hey Jakey, hey Chewy.
Good lord. Good lord. 5 people watching already.
5 people watching.
5 people watching our marvellous show. 6 people watching our marvellous show, Jakey. We are the new
6 people. We're
the new Premier League pundits. Oi, Sky Sports, if you haven't noticed, Neville's shit. Look at us.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of Henry, but you know.
Okay, guys, so welcome back to Chewy and Jakey Talk Football. Thanks very much, J-Dog. And this week we're talking about the Premier League and obviously the Premier League.
I thought we were talking about that every week.
Yeah, we're talking about that every week. But the reason for the title, is, let's be fair, there has been some games, moments, goals. So yeah, that's the reason for this title. It's pretty simple.
It started with a bang, didn't it?
It started off with a bang. I wanted to put Chelsea drop points. That's what I wanted to point. But we went with what? And we'll just see how we go from there. So yeah, welcome back everybody to Jakey and Chewy Talk Football Premier League episode 2. Let's hope it's as exciting and as fun as last week. We had a lot of people in last week. It was delightful. It's probably not going to be as long this week, guys. So hopefully everybody should be able to stick around before they have to go to bed. Me and Jakey are fully aware that last week was a 3-hour-long episode. So we're going to get right into it. And our first topic of discussion, because we are still in that marvellous transfer window that me and Jakey absolutely adore. Even when we weren't doing this show, transfers is something that me and Jakey always spoke about. So here we go. Next screen. Boom. Next screen. So here is our new transfers screen. Look at that. It's beautiful. This is obviously just for week 2. You can't see it. Just hang on, Jakey. It will come.
Oh, there we are.
There we are. And obviously you might have noticed as well, guys, that we have decided to take some pictures in our supporting shirts. So as you can see now, Jakey is a Man United fan, Chewy is an Arsenal shirt. Most of you know that anyway. Chewy like Chewbacca. Rest in peace, Milky Fresh. Milky Fresh. Hey, how's it going, Jane? I love that Jane jumps into these football streams. It's absolutely marvellous. Barry to West Brom. Right, yeah, so they're already talking about it. They're already talking about it.
They are already in it, yeah.
We're already in
just reading the comments.
Right, so I mean, I think we should start with Gareth Barry. I think it's probably the biggest one probably this week, in it, since we've done our show last time.
Since we've done, yeah.
I think Gareth Barry from Everton to West Brom. West Brom just lost a centre midfielder, didn't they? Was it Fletcher? Hasn't he gone to Stoke?
Yeah, Fletcher, yeah. They needed some sort of experience back
so they needed some sort of... I'll tell you what, guys, right? Barry, for me, I thought he was brilliant for Everton. He's a typical English centre midfielder. He plays that holding role more than he does attacking. I don't think it's a bad sign at all for West Brom. They needed something to replace Fletcher for me. I think Barry's better than Fletcher, if you ask me. So I think they've done well.
I think Barry is a typical English midfielder in the fact that he is underrated by everyone.
Yeah, mate, I think he is. I think he is. I like Barry, mate. I've always liked Barry. I think he's cracking on now. I mean, let's
cracking on, but let's
get his age up. Why not? Bit of Wikipedia.
Barry. It's not in the article. Oh, cheers, BBC.
Yeah, I don't think Gareth Barry.
He has made
1981, so he's 4 years older than me.
36-year-old. He's 36. He's made 628 Premier League appearances in 21 out of the 20. This is the 25th Premier League season.
I'll tell you what, 36. It's a shame, man, because, like you say, I think Gareth Barry.
4 down on Ryan Giggs, and again, as I say, he's one of the English. He's one of those English players that's always underrated.
Yeah,
he played first team for Everton. I think he's had like the most touches in Premier League history.
That's right. Actually, I did see that. I did see that stat. Actually, I think that was the end of last season, wasn't it?
Somewhere towards the end of last season, yeah.
Yeah, he definitely had like the most touches in the whole season or something. What's Matt say?
Barry, meanwhile, had made his debut at the end of the 97-98 season, has played more than 30 games in all but one season since. Like,
Jesus.
How can he play that much football? He always got overlooked by England. Let's face it, I mean, we had Gerrard and Lampard, like, they are like some of the midfielders.
I think that's the reason why he got overlooked, is because of Gerrard. He was unfortunately in the wrong generation. He was in the generation of Lampard and Gerrard. It's a shame because I think he's brilliant. I think he's a really good midfielder. Like you say, mate, completely and utterly overshone and underrated. And I think it's a fantastic signing for West Brom. West Brom obviously have had a good start as well. I think it's only going to be better for them now that he's joined. Great signing, West Brom. I don't know how much the fee is.
It's undisclosed.
It's still undisclosed. It's undisclosed on Sky.
I don't like to. There's nothing really reported on it, so
I can't imagine that Everton would have let him go for a ridiculous amount. I'd say that they've probably got him relatively cheap, being 36 and all.
He wasn't exactly first team now, let's face it. For
Everton, no. But for Everton, all right, maybe he is dropping down the pecking order. But for West Brom, I think it's a great signing. How are you doing for that space? And I am good, thanks, Jane. I am good.
Yeah. So should we start from the one that we discussed last week? It wasn't quite confirmed.
Yeah, let's go for that.
Timothy Fosu-Mensah.
Yeah, Timothy Fosu-Mensah.
United
Palace on loan.
We discussed that a little bit, I think, last week because it just popped up on my break-in or something when I was reading it.
That's right, yeah. It was literally, I think it was a medical that he'd completed or something. So it was
just
literally
completed it, yeah.
Just waiting for the confirmation of him actually being a Crystal Palace player for the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure it's the rest of the season loan, and it's not 6-monther.
Yeah,
season long
I believe it is.
I'm pretty sure it is as well.
So.
I again not seen a lot of this guy. What I have seen of him at United is he's a very good player, mate. I think Palace needs something. They had a bit of a doomer of an opening day. I don't think they looked ridiculously bad.
No.
They didn't look good either.
But I mean, he looked pretty strong, actually. I did see some highlights from him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think that Palace were terrible. I mean, the scoreline says so, especially with a team that's just come up from the Championship. But I think it'll be good for Palace. They've just got a slight knock on Zaha as well, which is not going to help them.
No.
But we shall see. I think he'll do all right. The good thing for United, on the other hand, is he's getting Premier League experience. And let's be fair. Yeah, and let's be fair. That's all you can ask. Yeah, definitely. I mean, dropping them down to the Championship's all right, but if you can get your boys that young into playing first team football regular in a Premier League side, it's only good news for Man United. That is, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Not only will it be potentially a starter for Man United in the long term, it might not be, but it will definitely get his price tag moved up, especially if he has a good season.
The next one, which was just up from that, Sufyan Ahanak from Almere City to Brighton, undisclosed. I've just actually been doing a bit of digging on this.
Because I don't know this fella.
Almere City play in the second division, Erste Divisie in Netherlands.
I was going to say that's the Netherlands then.
That's the Netherlands, yeah. Second division. He played last season. He played 42 games, scored 18 goals and got 15 assists.
Seems a bit of a strange one, doesn't it? 21?
He's 21. I mean, again, it's a new team being promoted, and again, they're going to be oh, what was I saying? they're going to be signing players that aren't known.
Heard of.
I mean, let's face it. Havre AC playing the second division of France. That's where Leicester signed Riyad Mahrez. I mean, look what happened. I mean, that could happen. You never know.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough then. Yeah, I didn't realise that he came from the Havre.
I think that's where he comes from.
You know what, dude? All right, yeah, we'll shut the door then. Yeah, that's fine. No problem. I have no idea why I drink from the floor. Is it leaking?
Yeah, Le Havre AC come from Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, so like you say, they're going to be signing some unknowns.
Going to be signing unknowns. Sure. Everyone knows, yeah.
Hopefully, he'll be good.
You know, I'd love to see good players succeed. I mean, if he doesn't, it would just stick with that trace and no one will hear of him again. That's sort of what's going to happen for him. I mean, it says undisclosed again, but you never know how much that is going to be.
I haven't got a clue either. It's undisclosed on Sky as well. So just so you know, guys, generally what me and Jakey do is it's kind of like an unwritten rule. But generally what we'll do is we will probably look on both. But what we tend to do is Chewy tends to cover the Sky news and transfers and whatever, and Jakey tends to do it on the BBC, because a lot of the times, like you saw last week, Jakey will have a confirmed price, but I won't, and then at times I would have a confirmed price and Jakey wouldn't. You know, so
actually, believe it or not, last week I was actually on Sky Sports, and we had different prices. So.
What the frack?
I was on Sky Sports for the ins and outs, and moved to BBC for the gossip.
Oh, right, fair enough. Well, there you go.
But yeah, I've got the BBC transfers up at the minute, and I just scrolled down to last week and saw what happened in the Premier League, basically.
Fair enough, fair enough. Right. Okay, so well, let's move on from the random Anak.
Bruno Martins Indy, Porter to Stoke, £7 million I got here.
Yeah.
If I'm right in thinking, I believe
he was already on loan last season anyway, wasn't he?
Last season, I mean. I don't think he ever really stood out, but he was one of those. Bruno Martins Indy was one of those players that was supposed to have a good future.
Well, the thing is obviously Stoke have seen something in him to actually sign him. So I didn't see a lot in him. I don't think that he's that great.
I think he was quite injured actually last season. I don't think he performed badly. He's on a 5-year deal.
That's it. They must have seen something in him.
Found something.
He's a centre half, isn't he?
Centre half, yeah. I believe so.
I don't know.
I think he plays right back as well.
I think that Stoke have obviously seen something in him. Like I say, I'm pretty certain he was on loan last season.
He was definitely on loan. I just checked that one out. Yeah.
They would obviously know how much that price tag's worth. I mean, £7 million. If they had him on loan last season, he's obviously gone back to Porto. Fancy's coming back to Stoke. They've gone out and bought him this time, so he obviously proved himself enough on loan last season. I mean, Stoke are no walkover side. They like their big fellas, especially at the back. So, I mean, he is a big boy. I've seen him that much of him. You know, Shawcross is no midget either. So, you know, I don't think it's a bad signing for Stoke, to be honest. We do know who Bruno Martins is. I mean, the other thing is, who else would be available for Stoke? That type of big boy, you know. That's it. They know him. He already knows their policy. Yeah. He knows the way they play football. So, I don't think it's a bad signing. I think it's a good signing for Stoke. It's only going to make them as strong as they were last season, I suppose, seeing as though he was there last season anyway.
Yeah, he was there last season anyway.
So, and Stoke had an alright season last season. I thought they'd done alright.
They were 13th, weren't they?
Yeah, that's not too bad for Stoke. They always
start off slow. I mean, they didn't have the number one choice keeper.
That's correct.
So they didn't have him all season. Until the end, I think he come back Butland. But yeah, so you know, it's a sign-in.
It is a sign-in.
They had last season, and it was 7 million. I mean, in today's market, 7 million is nothing.
It's nothing for a centre half. No.
Wolves spent 18 million on a defensive midfielder, so
that's that Nunes or something or other. Neves, that's the one.
I suppose
he scored an absolute perler on the weekend. You see that goal? What a goal!
That was yesterday.
Well, yesterday was it? What a goal that was against Cardiff.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice. But he was the youngest ever captain in the Champions League, and he's only 20 now. So
bloody hell, fair one. How's it going, Magma?
Yeah. The next one actually was a surprise one, I think, for both me and you, because neither of us actually saw it. Sofiane Feghouli has left West Ham and Galatasaray for 3.8 million.
Yeah, I haven't even seen any talks of this. I mean, Feghouli, it's literally just come out of nowhere.
They signed him. I believe they signed him on a free from Valencia, He wasn't very good. I mean, he played quite well for Valencia and always sort of shown up. I mean,
just while we're actually talking of transfers, guys, this was going to actually be in the gossip, but I've just literally clicked over, and breaking news: Gylfi Sigurdsson has joined Everton for 45 million. Now, it was announced that he was supposed to be having a medical on Tuesday. He actually completed that medical just before we started this show, and it is now confirmed that Gylfi Sigurdsson is now an Everton player for the fee of 45 million, 5-year deal. Another good signing for Everton, if you ask me.
I don't know if they're overloading their midfield a bit, but I suppose they've just released one. Well, let one go. Barry. I mean, he's defensive. And let's face it, Sigurdsson has performed very well.
In a minnow club as well, you know.
Sigurdsson, well, for Sigurdsson, Swansea were down the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Sigurdsson's a fantastic player. And I don't know whether 45 million is quite a fee that I would pay for Sigurdsson, but Swansea were literally digging their heels in. They obviously looked at the current market and knew that they could get big money for him if they held on. They've held on. They've got their big money. Chewy, is this a weekly thing? It is a weekly thing, Kai. Yeah, man. Every Wednesday, when the Champions League starts fully, like group stages, we're going to cover that as well. So, but yeah, so Gylfi Sigurdsson and obviously Ferguli are 2 new ones that we didn't have anything written down for. So Ferguli off to Galatasaray, leaving West Ham. To be fair, West Ham have bought quite a few, so it doesn't surprise me that they're offloading a couple.
He wasn't very good last season.
No, I thought
he wasn't what I thought he was going to be.
He was average, mate.
I thought he was pretty decent at Valencia.
Yeah, I liked him. Yeah, I liked him, mate. I like Ferguli, but yeah, like you say, he was pretty average at best for West Ham, I think. So yeah, it does surprise me that they're offloading a couple because obviously they've bought fairly heavy. So that one's not super surprising, although it was just kept under wraps. Nothing was said about it. And obviously,
Sigurdsson. The price has been released as well.
What was it? 5.2, did you say?
3.8.
3.8. I mean, that's a fair price. I mean, he didn't have a great season. Galatasaray are buying players like no tomorrow. Them and Fenerbahce are literally whipping up players.
They've got a lot of money to spend. And then we're actually up to today now. Hosselu from Stoke to Newcastle, £5 million.
See, I've not seen much of Hosselu. Have you seen much of him?
I haven't seen much, but I'm not sure, but I think he was injured quite a bit last season. Stoke spent 5.75 million on him last season.
Right.
Oh, that's why we didn't see him. They bought him in June 2015. Wow. Last season he was on loan to Deportivo La Coruña and scored 6 goals in 24 from a striker.
He's a striker?
Are you sure? He's a striker, yeah. 5 million.
Mate, they've got Gale at Newcastle as well. I like Gale.
He's a big guy. He's really tall, so I think they might be just pumping balls up to him.
They always do that, though, don't they? They always have like a whippet, and then I mean, look, it's like the days of Carroll, Shearer. Do you know what I mean? They always have a big fella backed up by a little whippet. Usually, that's how Newcastle play. So if they've got Gale and this fella, then
I mean, I don't think he's a goal scoring striker. I mean, yeah.
Well, 6 and 20 pretty much says it.
6 and 20, yeah. So yeah, never know. I mean, he's under Benitez, and Benitez usually gets the best out of players. So.
I'll tell you what, as well, mate, is until that red card on Sunday, I thought Newcastle looked all right. You know, so this is only going to help them, I'm sure. We'll get onto the red card and whatnot. We'll get onto that. So the other one is Jose Rodriguez. Jose Rodriguez from PSG to Stoke. Again, Stoke. I think it's a season-long go. Hey, how's it going, Danny boy? Season-long loan. I think that again, Stoke need some sort of refreshment going forward. They've lost an Arnautovic, haven't they? So
lost Arnautovic, and he's a left winger as well, which is where Arnautovic played.
Yeah, so I think it's hopefully going to be a replacement. I'm excited by the guy. He looks pretty sharp. I've done a little bit of YouTubing of him.
Yeah, and I mean, he was when he was at Real Madrid. He was second fiddle to Ronaldo, which is why he moved to PSG. But Man United were consistently linked with him. And then he went to PSG, and they still didn't play him, which was a bit disappointing for him.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
But
I mean, it's no wonder he's moved on now for a loan. I mean, they've just got Neymar, aren't they? So he's not going to get in this season again. So
I mean, and it's as far as I'm aware, what I've seen is it's a loan to a view to a permanent deal. So you could see him.
It's really
signing
strange because Stoke seem to be able to pick up these fellas. You know, they must do a hell of a lot of work on like Real Madrid and Barcelona to see what's in their ranks, because they got Bojan relatively cheap as well, and he was picked to be like the next big thing. I mean, it didn't work out for him, admittedly, but he's consistent enough. He's consistent enough at Stoke. Probably is.
I mean, when he's not injured.
When he's not injured, that's his other problem. He does carry a lot of injuries. So, you know, Rodriguez probably knows Bojan. I think they'll probably do all right. You know, I think he'll do all right. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, interesting stat on it though. I don't know if you've seen this one. Stoke have the most Champions League winners in their team than what any other Premier League team do.
No, I have not seen that. That is surprising. How many have they got in there then?
5 Champions League winners in their team. They've got Jesse Rodriguez, Bojan, Darren Fletcher.
Man United.
I read this. Yeah. Oh no. Who else have they got? Ibrahim Afellay.
Afellay, yeah, because he played for Ajax.
He played for Ajax and he played for Barca.
Wow.
In fact, I think he played for Barca in the final when they won it.
Right.
But the other thing about it is minutes in the Champions League final, of which they won. Only one of them has actually played in the final where they won, and that was Afellay, who only played 1 minute.
All right, well there you go. Danny Boy's just put as well. Danny Boy's just put in as well. It said that they would win the Champions League. I don't think they would if they only played 1 minute. If all games are 1 minute long, maybe.
That's between 5 of them. They got 1 minute combined in the Champions League final, which their teams won.
Well, let's be perfectly honest. Arsenal haven't got any Champions League winners in their fucking stack, have they? Let's be perfectly honest. I think they have Özil in it.
No, he didn't win it. Sanchez didn't win it when he was at Barcelona.
What about Özil?
Between their two, he played for. He won it for Real Madrid, I believe.
Yeah.
He definitely won it for Real Madrid.
I think that's it, though, isn't it? Champions League finalists.
Yeah, stuff like that. It was a stat that has been bouncing around everywhere today since they agreed that deal.
That's pretty good, though. I like that stat. That's a nice stat.
That's a nice stat.
That's a nice stat.
I think that is actually everything for the transfers, apart from topped up on Sigurdsson.
Apart from the Sigurdsson, which we just briefly talked about. Well, I say briefly. We've talked about that.
We talked about that, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, move on to some gossip then, if you want.
Yeah. Did you want to start on the gossip?
I can do, mate. I can do if you want. I mean, I've just scrolling down quickly on Sky Sports. It's not one that I've written down because this is one that's just come in. But apparently, defender Gabriel is reportedly poised to leave Arsenal and join Valencia. Now that surprises me, considering we have a centre half fucking issue. I'm not a massive fan of Gabriel, admittedly, but Jesus H. Tiddy Christ, we haven't even got enough centre halves. Not now we're playing 3 at the back. Getting rid of another one? Surely that has only got to tempt us to buy another one, right? But yeah, apparently 10 million. I'll tell you what, I'll take 10 million.
Where was he going to, sorry?
Valencia.
Valencia. That's where he come from, wasn't it? Or was it Villarreal where he come from?
Yeah, Villarreal. So, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
So one of the ones that I have got here, I think was it one you said we both had? Spurs have reached an agreement with PSG for defender Serge Aurier that we actually spoke about last week. About him potentially moving to Man United.
But it was Man United, wasn't it? Yeah. This boy has been banished all over. I'll tell you what, guys. Right, Aurier is fantastic. There's
a good player. I think what's his problem with PSG is he had a falling out with one of the coaches. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I think he said something about I think it was Laurent Blanc.
Right.
And then he's had some problems. He's been banned by PSG. They suspended him or whatnot.
He's got some sort of criminal thing over his head as well, because Arsenal were linked with him 2 seasons ago massively, mate. Yeah. I mean, I think we pretty much agreed a deal with him as well. But it all fell through because he was banned from even entering England. Because of some
one of those players
naughty thing that he's done.
Yeah.
But Arsenal like those sort of players, mate, and then they keep him on the bench and just get rid of them, and then they end up playing for championship teams. I mean, look at Jermaine Pennant, he's one. He's naughty.
One of them that has
Jack Wilshere, he's a bit naughty, likes a bit of a smoke and this, that, and the other, and then ends up being shit, and he could be on his way to Aston Villa. So It's just what Arsenal do with these sort of players. So, I like Aurier though. He is an absolute rapido. I think if he does come to England, it's only going to make the Premier League better. It doesn't matter who for. I'd like it not to be Spurs, but let's be fair.
Yeah.
If they're going to get him, mate, he is a right back, so it's going to probably replace Kyle Walker. But I believe he can play on the left as well, so that might open up the rumour that we've heard for Danny Rose. If you want to elaborate on that rumour.
The rumour I have seen for Danny Rose is that Chelsea are lining up a £50 million bid for him from Tottenham. That's after Danny Rose said that he wasn't happy with the wage policies and the transfers that Tottenham have been doing this season, or doing it altogether. And I mean, I managed Tottenham on Football Manager. I know Football Manager is not 100% correct on the wages, but they had, when I started, Dele Alli and Harry Kane were both on 50 grand a week.
That's not a ridiculous amount then. How much is Danny Rose on?
I can't remember how much he was on, but I mean, when you consider like what the big teams were offering for players in those positions,
yeah, fair one. I mean, Dele Alli and Kane.
Tottenham are supposed to be, yeah.
If that happens, if that carries on, mate, then Dele Alli and Kane will be off next. I mean, Dele Alli's been massively linked with Real Madrid. Admittedly, in the beginning of the transfer window, I think it's all died down now. I don't see that happening anytime soon. But there is a real funny one actually, mate, that obviously Tommy plays. He's knowledgeable as well, right? I've literally just scrolled down at 1657,
Evans
mate.
to City.
Evans to City. I mean, that's got to be the biggest load of nonsense ever, isn't it? Why would they go for Johnny Evans?
The one thing I said, it's a confusing one, but I know teams in England, they've got to have 4 or 8 players trained in England.
I'm not
sure. And it's whether City have enough. I can't remember what the rule is. I play Football Manager, and you got to register the players. I think in the Champions League, you got to register 8 players that have trained in the nation, so trained in England,
as in like from a schoolboy,
for at least 3 years before the age of 21. So they had to have trained in the nation for 3 years before the age of 21. So that's
probably where the Johnny Evans thing's coming from then, because he was at United, obviously, wasn't he?
Yeah. That might be why they had apparently they had an £18 million bid rejected from West Brom. Rejected £18 million for Johnny Evans.
No,
but he is their current captain after they lost Fletcher last at the start of the season. Fletcher was their captain last season.
They've just strengthened there, haven't they, in the middle of the park with Barry? I don't know. I can't see him.
Evans, I don't know. It might. You never know. Chelsea.
You never know.
I know. West Brom would definitely want a bit more money. I mean, Man City have just thrown 50 million at a right back, so
yeah.
And,
I don't think they're going to let him.
Another centre back. So
I don't think they're going to let him go cheap.
Do you also see what Aurier done?
Yes, called Mont Blanc a faggot apparently.
Yeah, and then Kai said, "Tell Chelsea to piss off, please." I'm assuming Kai's a Tottenham fan. Because that was just after we were talking about Danny Rose.
I thought he was a City fan. I can't remember who Kai supports now. City had an 80 million bid for Evans rejected. Yeah, see, they're going to hold out, man. I mean, he is.
They're going to hold out. They're going to want a bit more as well, especially with Man City throwing the money at the defence at the minute.
Yeah, that's it.
Have you got another one?
Okay, so another one from my good self. Let's go with the Ryan Sessegnon, Fulham player. Also another one that Spurs is after. I've got him down as a young starlet. So yeah, this is a supposed. I think he's a left back, right?
He's a left back. I said to you before the stream, we somehow managed to, before we started streaming and talking about this, we somehow managed to get on a 5-minute chat about this beforehand.
We were terrible. I was like, mate, we better just start the stream here. So yeah, Ryan Sessegnon, young left back.
I said to you, didn't I?
Yeah, if he comes in, it's
first team for Fulham. He's 17 at the minute. He was playing first team for them last season, I believe. I'm not sure if this is 100% right. I think he played for the England under 21s.
He did, mate. Yeah, that was one of the reports I read.
Yeah, and and we said, if Rose goes, that could be what
what happened. That's obviously what they're thinking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they like their young fullbacks. I mean, was it them that had that Parker Street or something or other playing right back on the weekend?
Kyle Walker Peters.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that was him. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'd never even heard of the fella. So yeah, I mean, Ryan Sessegnon, he looks decent. Like you say, he's first team Fulham. So yeah, I don't know whether Spurs are maybe putting all their eggs in one basket with all these young'uns, especially at the fullback position these days, because they need to be relatively experienced, I think, to be a fullback. I know Bellerin and players like such have excelled for clubs at a young age, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Tottenham nurtured Danny Rose from a young age.
Yeah, that's true. That is very,
he was
very
that
true.
guy that come in on his debut. He scored that world against Arsenal, didn't he?
I don't remember it.
Of course you won't.
I don't remember that one. I think it hit a pigeon before it went in though.
I got an odd one here. I mean, as we say, the gossip. I mean, you can't believe everything. If you believed every gossip, Man United had signed Pogba for 3 seasons before they did. Man United would have signed Griezmann like 8 times this window.
God, Arsenal would be Champions League winners. The amount of players they've been linked with, Jesus Christ.
So this one is an odd one. Chelsea, they've been looking at Alexandro as a left back from Juventus. He's quite an attacking left back.
They've had a ridiculous amount of bids rejected for him, though, haven't they?
52 and 61 million pounds apparently. But the other weird thing, he's supposed to be pretty good, but apparently Chelsea want him to hand in his transfer request at Juventus. Hand in a transfer request. But the thing about it that's weird is the fact they've also been linked with Southampton right wing back Cedric Suarez or Soares or something like that, who's a right wing back. I know they don't. I mean, they currently use
Who's this? Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah.
Mate, is he on crack cocaine at the moment?
Apparently, he doesn't get a choice because someone was saying last week that he doesn't get a choice in what they go for.
Is it all Abramovich?
I don't know if it's Abramovich, but someone higher up chooses who they sign and who they let go, which is what he didn't want to let go of Matic. I mean, I'm glad I did after watching. Ooh.
Sky Sports breaking news. Apparently, Ibrahimovic is going to Watford for 5 mil. I think he'll tell you lies there. Well, he's out of contract for a start, so why would they pay for him?
So yeah, what was the sense? So Cedric I mean, he's a right wing back. He plays attacking for Southampton, but I mean, I wouldn't say he's the best of attacking players.
He's not what Chelsea need, right? I don't know.
I don't know. They need a right. I would have said they would have needed a right wing back because at the minute they're using Victor Moses. I mean, he's not the best defensively.
No, he's not. He's not.
You never know.
He's not, but
attacking player.
Surely they can. I mean, let's be fair. Chelsea can open a sticker book and just say, "I want that one. I want that one. I want that." You know what I mean? They can throw. Look at the Sandros bids. You know, like why go for someone like Suarez, who, I mean, he's okay. Don't get me wrong. He's not horrendous, but you know, he's like. It'd be like fucking Arsenal or someone, or United going for like someone like Figueroa or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't seem. He's not a top 4 player. Very strange. I mean, Victor Moses is a decent player. Obviously, like you say, defensively he's not great. You know, would you want Suarez to replace Victor Moses? I mean, surely Victor Moses is going to be better even in that position than him, right?
I think he's more of a defensive player than what Moses is. So it depends on what sort of how you're using it as such, because he can go forwards, but he's not going to be as good as Moses. But he's going to be better backwards.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how many of these develop, I suppose.
I think this Sky Sports breaking news that Tyler plays is the same sort of the Sky Sports breaking news that come out last week that Huddersfield were going to win the league.
Oh right, I see.
I think that's what the
yeah, because obviously Zlatan is he's out of contract anyway. Well, I don't think he will retire.
One of my things that come up is Mourinho's keen on re-signing Zlatan.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times this week.
And possibly giving him a coaching role once his playing career finishes.
Which will probably be within the next year or two anyway.
Next couple of years, that's what they said, yeah.
I mean, if I was Zlatan, I've got to be honest, mate, he obviously feels as though he's got some unfinished business in the Premier League, presumably winning it. If I was Zlatan, to be honest, mate, MLS were, LA Galaxy were offering ridiculous money, no doubt. They were even willing for him to sit on the bench in their off-season and then for the first couple of games just to get him in. If that was me, mate, I'd just go there. he doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. He's got trophies galore. Why not just get some extra kitty in your retirement fund? Do you know what I mean? And let's be fair, America's not the worst place you can play football in the world. You could be in China, for God's sake, like Oscar. What a nonsense transfer that was. But yeah, so Zlatan, we will have to wait and see. I think if he does come back to United, he's going to struggle getting in the squad now. I mean, Lukaku is on fire, as much as I don't like to admit it. Okay, so I've got a really, really big one. Burnley have put in an 11.8 million. I mean, that's a lot of money for Burnley. 11.8 million for Deportivo. I believe he's a forward or a winger, attacking winger. So Florin Adone. Now, let's just remember, guys, Arsenal signed what is known to be Deportivo's best player last season, and he didn't get any games. So I'm guessing this is their second best player. Hopefully Burnley can utilise him more than what we did Perez.
So I just had a quick look on him. He's apparently a striker. He's Deportivo's number 10 at the minute.
Yeah.
He's Romanian.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I read.
Got 30. He played 37 times for Deportivo last season and scored 12 goals. And he's got 15 caps for Romania with 1 goal.
Great striker.
I mean,
Vokes has already got more than him in 1 game. Mikey, yes, Arsenal did win the other game, mate. We'll get to scores and stuff in a second, Mikey. Don't you worry. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't think it'll be a bad thing for Burnley. It's a hell of a lot of money though to spend on a striker that's not really doing the business. And let's be fair,
24. So he's got a bit, and he's
got some time.
6 foot, so it's
a big boy. It's a typical Burnley type player.
I mean, I get it.
James Wheeler's back. I haven't seen James Wheeler in ages. How you doing, boy?
I can't remember what I was saying now. He's one of those players that's coming into the Premier League, and you don't know how he's going to adjust.
Nah, you don't. That's the problem. I mean, Perez didn't adjust very well at all. I mean, he did get a few chances at the beginning. I don't think Perez has had enough chances, though, for my liking.
I don't think he never got enough. I mean, he played all right in the Champions League or whatever, didn't he?
Yeah, he played well, and he scored a couple of goals. I mean, I think like his goals to actual minutes ratio is probably quite decent, because he scored a few League Cup goals and a few FA Cup goals in the early stages. I don't think he's been given enough of a chance. I mean, we spent 18 million on that fella, just to put him on the bench. I think it's absolute nonsense, money wasted. I'm pretty sure as well that we're only going to be offloading him for the best part of 8. I think the maximum was that I saw. So, you know, it's a massive, massive loss. We're looking at losing 10 million just because we decided to put him on the bench. It's just nonsense. I don't know why you'd spend 18 million on a player and keep him on the bench. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, 18 million is a lot of money, you know. Considering Arsenal don't spend money, I thought that he actually might be challenging Giroud for his spot, but he didn't even get his chance, man. I think he does play out wide a lot as well, or did do for Deportivo, because he's so quick. He'd rather play through the middle, but he did play out wide a lot. Though it was a left-wing position. Now, obviously, we all know that Sanchez has nailed that position down, so it might be just the case that Wenger didn't quite see where he could fit him in, but I don't know. It's still a lot of money to go and waste on a backup, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just actually had a bit of a look. He was in the 2015-16 Segunda Division Team of the Year. Yeah.
Is this that?
Florin Adone. Yeah. So it's a couple of seasons back. That's the 2nd division in Spain.
Fair enough.
2015-16. That was his last season at Cordoba. So
we'll have to see then, won't we?
Interesting stat.
Yeah. I feel a bit sorry. For Burnley if that one goes through. I don't think they're putting the money in the right place with him personally. But hey.
I got Barcelona. It's involving Barcelona as such, and it's involving quite a lot of Premier League teams. Because this one's saying he's a target for Man United, and that's Sergi Roberto. He's a 25-year-old centre midfielder. He played. I mean, he's been at Barcelona all his career, basically. Right. But this season they just signed Paulinho from some Chinese team, I think. And this
because I remember him being out in China.
Tottenham had, and he was useless for Tottenham.
Yeah,
And they just spent 38.5, and apparently Roberto today handed in his transfer request.
38.5 for Paulinho?
Yep.
Good God.
So it's Sergio Roberto put in his transfer request and then immediately got linked with the top 6 in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, he's going to, I think.
Apparently,
did you say he's a central midfielder?
Centre midfielder, yeah. Apparently, when he was in his youth,
don't be surprised about. I was going to say,
don't
don't be surprised if Arsenal decide to go for him again. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Because let's be fair. After the weekend, Xhaka, what a crock of shit. So I mean, if we need to bolster anything, I think it's either our centre halves, because let's be fair, we haven't got many of them, and then if we're going to sell Gabriel to Valencia as well, we definitely need a centre half. But I don't think our midfield is as good as it could be. Ramsey obviously gets injured quite a bit. I love Ramsey, but he is getting injured a lot more these days. Wilshere looks like he's probably done and dusted at Arsenal, although Wenger wants him to fight for his spot. Özil too attacking minded, and he was absolutely atrocious against Leicester in my opinion. So I wouldn't be surprised, mate, if he's a good fella. What do you think about Spurs signing Ruria? It would be good if they get him, James Wheeler. We were talking about that just before you hopped on, actually, dude. We're massive fans of Ruria. We think he's a very good player. I think it's just whether or not the courts are going to allow him to actually play in England. Also true, the person from Ajax, who we are close to.
Is this the Davis?
That's the Davison Sanchez, isn't it? A ridiculous amount of money. Million? I hope he's good, because they were on about spending 27 million on him, James Wheeler. You've pretty much just pushed us into the next gossip rumour. Thanks, James.
I was actually going to follow on, because I didn't read what it said in the gossip, but it said Sergio Roberto, Ernesto Valverde, who's Barcelona's manager, is adamantly won't be sold this season. I mean, how many times have managers said that?
Well, yeah, I mean, neither Coutinho's not going to go anywhere either, but pretty sure he is. Sanchez ain't going anywhere either. Pretty sure he will. You know, if the money's right, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether the managers want to keep him or not. The chairmans are going to turn around and say, at the end of the day, if he doesn't want to play for the club,
go for it.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to play for the club, and they're offering us 80 million, 50 million, whatever, it's money in the pocket that you can go and spend on another player. And someone that wants to be there. I mean, in my opinion, this whole debacle at the moment with Özil, Sanchez and Oxlade-Chamberlain not wanting to sign new contracts, fair enough, they're obviously trying to hold out for a deal that they want. I'm sure if Ox got given the contract he wants, he'll stay. He's been at Arsenal a long time. I'm pretty sure he wants to play for Arsenal. He seems to have fit into that right wing back role extremely well. I say give him what he wants. I think it would be an absolute travesty for us to sell him to the likes of Chelsea or Liverpool. They're both teams that we're challenging for those top 4 spots, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it would be a travesty for us to do that. As for Sanchez, I mean, and Ox is probably going to be 20, 25 million tops. You know, it's not worth it. We don't need that, really. We're not going to get a ridiculously good player in for that money. Whereas Sanchez, City are probably going to bid, or probably have bidded in the best part of 50 million plus. I'm not being funny. If he doesn't want to sign a new contract, he's holding out for 300k a week. I mean, that's ridiculous, and that's the contract we've offered him. So if he doesn't want to be there and he wants 300k a week, go and let City spend 300k a week on him, and let's hope he breaks a leg. You know, get rid of him, get the 50 mil, and let's go and blitz 50 mil on someone else. I mean, Mahrez pretty much would come in an instant. I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Sanchez, admittedly, but he's available now. He's put in a transfer request. He's available now. Leicester want 50 million for him. You know, it's an option. I know he's not a replacement for Sanchez, but it would do. Failing that, just put another 10, 15 million on top of what you're already putting on for Lemar from Monaco, because apparently that boy's a left wing. You know, I just think it's nonsense. And as for Özil, mate, I think we should have sold him last season. He is fucking dog shit. Going backwards, he is terrible. Absolutely terrible. One of the laziest paid professional footballers I have ever fucking seen in my life. Going forward, the guy's like a bloody gazelle. Going backwards, it's like a turtle going backwards. It is horrendous how unenergetic he is when it comes to defending and doing the nitty gritty stuff. I say get rid of him. Out of all those, out of those 3 players, sack him off, split his wages between the other 2. Happy days, everyone's laughing. That's what I say. pin them down for another 5 years, and if you want to sell them still, it's more than 50 million, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But that's just my attitude on that.
Should we go back to Davinson Sanchez then?
Let's. Off topic.
So what we were saying, Spurs are looking at competing for an initial £27 million for Ajax and Davinson Sanchez. Now, I mean, I must admit I didn't watch Man United versus Ajax. I wasn't happy with how Man United were playing last season. So I don't know what Ajax had. I heard he was playing first team football for them last season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember anybody standing out ridiculously. I mean, I did watch that game. I don't remember anyone standing out ridiculously well. But let's be fair, in this current market, 27 million for I'm presuming he's young.
He's 21.
Yeah, so 21-year-old centre half. It's not ridiculous money in the market and what it's become this year. You know, 21-year-old in England. If he's English and he's got an English cap, mate, that's 50 million there.
Yeah.
So it's half that. So you know, if he is decent, then 27 million is not too bad. I hope he is. Do Spurs need a centre half?
Well, I suppose they haven't got much after
Alderweireld.
Alderweireld, or Alderweireld, as everyone else calls him, or Vertonghen. They don't have much after him. After them two, which is their first choice.
It's obviously the depth they're probably going for then, isn't it?
I just had a quick look. Ajax bought him from Atletico Nacional, who's the best team in Colombia, for €5 million in 2016.
Good lord.
But then since then, he played one game for their reserve team, and then has gone straight into their first team after that.
Right. So he's obviously promising.
He's a big guy.
I'm not being funny, but the Spurs love their big centre halves. I mean, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and are not small fellas, you know. And I mean, Alderweireld was an absolute tank as well. I love that guy. He's an absolute fantastic player, if you ask me. Great signing he was. Vertonghen again, wasn't he at Chelsea first?
Vertonghen, no. Alderweireld was at Southampton. I don't know. I think they signed Vertonghen.
Where did they get Vertonghen from?
I think they signed him from outside. They signed him from Ajax.
Well, there you go. And
they signed him from Ajax.
That's right. I do remember now. And let's be fair, Vertonghen's been great.
2012. Yeah.
He has been great. So I mean, if this is another one alongside of them, then let's be fair. If he is as good as Alderweireld and Vertonghen, I mean, Spurs will have probably one of the best back forward. Oh well, back three, because they play with a three at the back as well, don't they? They'll have probably one of the best back three in the Premier League. You know, if he's as good as those two anyway.
Yeah, I just had a look actually. He won Ajax's Player of the Year last season.
Well, he's obviously got to be good then. Let's be fair.
He's got to have something.
Everyone's been raiding Ajax as well this season. So if he's their best player, or as far as they're concerned, then yeah, fair play Spurs. I don't know why Arsenal ain't going for someone like this. But the thing is Arsenal won't pay that sort of money for a centre half. It's stupid. We'll end up with Pascal Seagon's brother or something like that. We will.
Let's see what we got here then. Anything might be interesting.
I don't know. I've not seen anything else, mate. I mean, everything else I would say pretty much seems nonsense.
So the other one that we said is nonsense. Someone's actually commented in, James Wheeler, is Wilshere might be going to either Juventus or Aston Villa.
I think it's it's Aston Villa. I can't see him dropping that low, man.
I can't see him with his. Because let's face it, he's got an ego on him.
Yes.
I can't see him going, oh yeah, I'll play for a championship team, even if it is a championship team that should be getting promoted. He's not. I don't think he will, mate.
I don't think he will. I think you're right, mate.
Head on that.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. I think his ego's far too big for him to decide to drop down to the championship. And let's be fair, he isn't exactly old. I don't think that championship football is where Wilshere probably should be playing anyway. I know he gets injured a lot at the moment. I reckon Bournemouth would take him back in an instant, mate. But I don't know. Is he Arsenal worthy anymore? I don't think so, man. No. I used to love Jack Wilshere, but the thing is for me is the injuries. He's just constantly injured. I love Jack Wilshere to bits. I think he's a great player, or was a great player before the injuries. And everything going for him at 16. But he's just picked up way too many injuries in his career. I just don't think that Arsenal need that dead weight on their books anymore. We need to offload him. So if it is to Juventus or
the other thing about Wilshere is when I mean I never really let's face it, I didn't pay much attention to when he was playing for Arsenal, but when he was playing for England or whatever, and he got the ball and then he's just muscled off by like the smallest player on the pitch or something. He starts falling over.
Yeah, he's not.
Is he injured again, or is he just like?
Yeah, he's not ridiculous. Yeah, it's the thing is it's always the worry. I mean, you know, say he does get fit. Yeah, I just saw that Bournemouth don't want him apparently. So let's say he does get fit again. When's he going to get injured again? You know, we've already got Ramsey in the middle of the park that's similar to that. I mean, he's not as injury prone as Wilshere, but you know, you can't have too many boys on your books that you're classing as first team players that are potentially going to get injured.
He's on quite a wage as well at Arsenal. I don't know exactly how.
He's on a bit of a whack, mate. I think yeah. And he has been for a while. Like I say, he's been there since he's been professional contract.
And he's 25, so he's 25, so he's probably had a big deal, a 5-year deal or whatever. He's got 1 year left on it, so he probably signed one at 21. And I bet that's got quite a bit. And that was just before he'd started. I mean, he was always getting an injury here and there, but this is before he starts getting.
He's had like 2 broken legs, and then he had.
I don't think he's had broken legs. I think he's just done both his knees. I think he's had basically every injury apart from. I don't think he's had a broken leg.
He fractured his heel when he had a knee injury anyway.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that? He somehow fractured. Yeah. It was really, really peculiar. He like fractured his heel while he was injured. I mean, how do you do that? Was he out raving or something on crack cocaine and fell over, or someone on a moped run over his?
So you don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, he's a loose cannon, mate. He's another Jermaine Pennant. You know, he's an absolute party animal. I don't know, man. I love Wilshere, but I think it's time we moved on from the Arsenal. Personally, for Arsenal to be a better team, I don't think that Wilshere is a man that we need to keep. I would have argued my point massively 2-3 seasons ago, but you know, he didn't do great at Bournemouth. He done okay for him, but no, I'm past him now as an Arsenal fan, and I'm a massive fan of Wilshere. I just don't think he's Arsenal worthy anymore. I think we need bigger and better things, you know.
Yeah.
We can't cling on to these young uns that are getting injured all the time, or just not there. So yeah, for me, I hope that Villa can get him, because I'd like to see Villa do well and come back up into the Premier League. I hope he doesn't go to Juventus, because I think he's going to have the same issue there, man. I don't think he's going to play.
Juventus always get the best out of players, so you never know. You might get killed over that. I mean, they never.
Well, I hope they don't push him too far, mate. He'll end up with no legs.
Come back.
Yeah, I can hear it. So it'll go off in a sec. By the time I stand up, it'll go off.
So I got the bullshit one.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, it always is.
We've got to have one.
William Carvalho.
Oh yeah, isn't that to one of the minnow clubs?
That's to West Ham.
Yeah, West
for
Ham.
40 million. This is the bloke. He's 25 now. He's been linked with Premier League.
Arsenal, God knows how many times.
So
literally,
you know,
God knows how many times.
I still think he's going to be a Lisbon player at the end of this transfer window.
Yeah, Arsenal
is a good player.
He is a fantastic player.
Apparently it's been stalled.
I tell you what, mate. Right, 40 million. Arsenal need a holding midfielder. Go and get him. We've been linked with him so many times. I'm pretty certain he said about 3 or 4 seasons ago that he would go to Arsenal. Go and get him. Go and spend 40 million on him, because I've got to be honest, he is 100% better than Xhaka and El Neni put together with a bit of strawberry sauce on their heads.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think West Ham to have him. Fair play to West Ham if they get him. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why Arsenal don't get these sort of players. It's just silly. It's nonsense. Just let West Ham have them. Fuck it.
They see £40 million and get a bit scared. Like, hang on, what's this coming from?
Hang on a minute, £40 million. You could end up like Pascal Sagan or Steppenwolf.
The other one, I know we've been talking about gossip for a little bit, and I said that one was a bullshit one to end on, but I just read this one. Liverpool want Barcelona midfielder Ivan Rakitic, including negotiations with Spanish giants.
Coutinho, isn't it?
Playmaker
Felipe Coutinho.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is something I heard earlier. Now, I've got to be honest, mate. If you want to push Barcelona's hand to get something out of the deal that you want, it's a fucking great shout from Liverpool, because Rakitic is a sick player. Yeah. But what price tag would you say Rakitic has got on his head? Because with this current market, I mean, he's not 80 million, don't get me wrong, but he can't be too far off that. He's a great player. You know, so are they going? It won't be a straight swap. Liverpool are going to expect some money as well on top of Rakitic. But if you want to get something out of the deal, say 30 million on Rakitic, mate, that's a steal. Sell him.
Yeah,
that's what I say, because Rakitic is a great player. It's not going to
I
worsen.
mean,
and then they've got 30 million to get a winger, well, an attacking midfield, because Rakitic is more holding or central more, isn't he?
They've got 30 million to buy a defender.
Exactly, 30 million to buy, and they need a defender. They need a fucking left back. That's what they need. I thought they signed a left back.
They didn't play him. They bought him.
They didn't play him, did they? Played Marino, and they played him last night as well. Nonsense.
People are saying that Italian football is good for Wilshere, and also West Ham are apparently close to the person you were talking about, William Carvalho.
Yeah, they are close. It's stalled for some reason. I did read that report earlier. I tell you what, though, surely Wenger must be like turning his little Betty Bobos right now with his slip slops on, because Carvalho, I mean, he's worth 40 million. This current market, Carvalho is worth 40 million, and we need a holding midfielder that's better than Xhaka. I mean, they won't get rid of Xhaka anytime soon. But El Nene, we only paid about 8 million for him. I think it wasn't a hell of a lot from FC Bar. And to be fair, mate, out of the two of them, I prefer El Nene because he's a little bit more energetic. He's a little bit more mobile. Admittedly, Xhaka's got a hell of a strike on him and a hell of a pass. He can find that searing pass. But the way Arsenal play football, we don't necessarily need that anyway. But we are likely to sell El Nene before we are Xhaka. Do you know what? Out of all three of them, my favourite is Coquelin. I prefer Coquelin out of all three of them because Coquelin's got passing football in him, and he don't half know how to break up play, that boy. And I don't think I've ever seen him pretty much get an assist to drink water.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another story for a little bit further on. Right, are we done with gossip then? Are we done with gossip?
I think we are done with gossip.
I think we've pretty much excelled on the old gossip, haven't we? I mean, let's be fair, guys. Gossip is going to be something that we're going to be covering quite a bit, especially in the transfer window.
Especially during the transfer window, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's much point in us covering it in the off season because otherwise we're just going to be linking everybody to everybody, and they're not likely to happen. So we'll try and probably find something else. Maybe we could play a game of who is this or something like that with you guys, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll try and do something, or maybe me and Jakey will just have like a challenge. I don't know. We'll think of something.
Yeah. We'll find something to do, I'm sure.
We'll bolster it out. Don't you worry. Right. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Gossip is done. Right. Okay. So we are now moving on to the scores on the doors for Premier League Week 1.
Am I right in thinking this is including our little thoughts on the games
This
as well?
is our little thoughts on the game. So again, this shouldn't take us too long. I think it's going to just be a more I think it's going to be a more of, oh, this guy impressed me, oh, this guy didn't impress me. I thought this was shit. I thought that was shit. I thought Arsenal lucky. Yeah. You know, that sort of nonsense. I have got notes written down. I know you have, Jakey, as well. I've seen your little notes. I didn't read them because I thought I'd wait for the surprise. So I suppose from top to bottom, I don't know if you can see that screen, Jakey. I can see that screen, yeah. So I suppose if we go with order of play of how they played on the weekend, so we'll start with the Arsenal-Leicester game.
Arsenal-Leicester.
Obviously,
do you want to start as your team?
Yeah, why not? I'll start with Arsenal-Leicester. Right, so, okay, guys. So Arsenal played on the Friday night. First time the Premier League's ever been opened on a Friday night. So Arsenal were victors for 4-3. Now, I got to say, without reading my notes, as an Arsenal fan, I'm obviously happy. I've also got to say, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I was not really under any doubt that we would win the game while watching the game, purely because you could have split the team in half. Defensively, we were fucking terrible, right? But we didn't have Mertesacker, Koscielny, Mustafi. I mean, at least two of those three are going to start every single game when they're available. So, not Mertesacker so much, but that's why I said two of the three. I mean, Mustafi and Koscielny are probably going to play alongside Holding. I know Holding had a bit of a doomer, but I think it was because he was playing with guys that, let's be fair, were both fullbacks. You know, he didn't have no guidance. They were probably looking for Holding for guidance, you know? So as soon as Mertesacker got clouted and had to go off, you know what I mean? It just went to It went to horse ruin.
Yeah.
But going forward, I've got to be honest, I think Arsenal could have been 4-0 up in the first half. If it wasn't for Schmeichel, I thought going forward we looked absolutely fantastic. And I know the defence was terrible, but it's only going to get better. Xhaka's midfield cross ball straight to Drinkwater was absolutely fucking horrendous. And as I already have pointed out so far in this show, Özil was terrible for me. The urgency was just non-existent. You've gone and put Özil, right, on a corner, to stop the ball coming in. So they've taken a short corner. It's taken Özil probably the best part of 3 seconds to react. By the time he has reacted, he's nowhere near the cross. Cross has come in. Keeper's fucking everywhere, admittedly. He probably should have stood his ground. But they were queuing up at the back post. Harry Maguire, decent signing for Leicester, don't get me wrong. Nods it across. Azaki, one of the smallest people on the pitch. And all I got from the... Okazaki, all I got from the commentators was, oh, he's a great leap. He's a great leap! Xhaka was nowhere near him. He didn't have to jump. But anyway, that was terrible. Backwards, Arsenal were absolutely horrendous. Going forward, they were absolutely fantastic. And it's great to see Lacazette off the mark, considering we've spent so much money on him. Because let's be fair, number 9's always been a bit of a dodgy number for Arsenal, Francis Jeffers. So it's great to see Lacazette get off a start, and it was a decent little goal. He could have had a 2, to be fair. Welbeck could have had 2 in the first half. You know, it's just unfortunate we didn't get more than the 4. It could have been 6 fucking 3, but then it could have been 7-6. You know, I mean, defensively, both teams were terrible. Harry Maguire was, I thought, Leicester's best player because obviously he's seen a lot of the ball, and if he wasn't on that field, mate, I think it could have been 7. What else have I got here? Zonal marking as well, right? I know this. We're probably going to talk about this a lot, Jakey, this season. Yeah. Right, because Arsenal have been employing it, and
Is he trying that this season? Is he?
Mate, they started doing it last season and the season before, and it's just never worked for us, mate. And we're still doing it, and we're still making mistakes. One of their goals come from a corner, the Vardy goal, mate, where he just literally nods it across. He was alone, mate. No one knows who the fuck they've got to run with. You know, when you're doing zonal marking, you should be in your little zone. So at no point should you ever really follow a player, right? So obviously Vardy should have been passed on to like the man at the front post. But when you're doing zonal marking, at what point does he become your responsibility? Yeah, so Vardy's made a run from the penalty spot towards the front post. At what point does it become, say, Monreal's responsibility? Yeah, because Monreal doesn't even know he's there. Who's telling him he's there? You know, zonal marking, shocking. And I tell you what, it doesn't work that much. Liverpool have started employing it this season, and
Liverpool have always used zonal marking when they were actually good.
Were they? Well, they absolutely crucified off Watford with their zonal marking this weekend. I mean, that Okaka is an absolute beast. We'll come to them later. Zonal marking, I've got that written down in my notes here because I just think zonal marking, shite. Get rid of it. Who even thought it was a good idea? Whatever sports bloody analysis that thought zonal marking was a good idea. Get rid of him. Sack him. He's a dick. As for Arsenal's third goal, handball or not, Jakey? What are you saying?
Arsenal's third goal.
The Özil supposed handball.
I didn't spot it, so...
All right, okay. I'm happy with that.
I would say it wasn't.
I got to say, I think it was handball myself. I think Leicester were a little bit hard done by in that build-up play. Yeah. Although his arm is by his side. Admittedly, it's hit his arm, but his arm's by the side. Looking at a lot of games this weekend, there could have been a lot of penalties, could have been a lot of free kicks from this, where arms by the side that it's hit their arm. Brighton and City game rings a bell. I'm sure there was an incident where it's hit one of the Brighton players on his arm when he's got his arms down. So although Arsenal are on the counter-attack, that's the only difference that I can see here, is Arsenal were on the counter-attack. As the ball's come over the top, it has it Özil on the arm. There's no two ways about it. I'm on the fence, mate, because if you give that one, then unfortunately referees are going to have to give all of them when their arms are down by the side. So then it becomes a point where, well, what's an accidental handball and not an accidental handball?
Yeah,
are we literally just going to have players in straight? That's it, mate. Are we literally just going to have players in straight jackets running around? Because I'm not being funny. Accidental handballs are going to always happen. Why should you get crucified for them? You know, even on the attack, I don't think Özil's meant it because balls come from behind him for a start. It is, I'm not disputing that. It probably should have been called as handball, but at what point do we then say, right, handballs, even accidentally, is a penalty / free kick / disallowed? You know, it's just going to get silly. It really is going to get silly. And they were saying, oh, well, when all this technology comes in, they'll be able to review it. Fair enough, if you review it, and then it becomes a handball, then fair enough, because you've had time to review it. You're allowed to use that 1 review or 2 reviews a half or whatever it might well be that when they employ it. Then fair enough. But other than that, should an accidental handball be a handball? I'm thinking no. You know, doesn't matter where on the park you are. An accidental handball is an accidental handball. If you haven't physically brought your arm up to prevent that ball from going in the back of the net, from pushing it forward, for instance, you know, if you haven't actually physically meant that, and your arms are by your side, at what point, you know, why? Why should that be a handball? I understand why people are saying that it's always a handball. I get it. I do get it. But then we come into this grey area of, right, okay, so what's accidental and what's not? Yeah. But if you didn't spot it, mate, then happy days.
I didn't spot it. I must admit.
What have your thoughts, mate?
My notes on the game was the goals as a whole. In every single goal, I've got defending. Where was it? All of them. Every single goal.
All 7 goals.
Defending was absolutely atrocious in that game.
For both sides, it was. It was absolutely terrible.
I mean,
and as I say, if it wasn't for Harry Maguire, mate, it could have been so many more for Arsenal, because predominantly Arsenal were the attacking team in that game.
The header from Vardy that you said about where he did the zonal marking,
awful.
I was like, hang on, Vardy scored a header. That was my first thing I noticed. The second point was like, he's not being marked. Has Arsenal forgot what defending is? It's like, hang on.
Yeah.
I mean, I put it in the exact right. Defending. Has Arsenal forgot?
I mean, these are supposedly, right, Arsenal was supposedly always a contending top 4 team / contending Premier League title team, you know. No one would ever say Arsenal aren't in the Premier League this season to try and win that Premier League. They always are. But when you've got 2... I get the system they're playing. It's a great system. It works. But when you've got so many centre-halves out, should you just revert back to a 4-5-1 or something that doesn't need 3 centre-halves? You know, like putting 2 wing backs / left backs. They have Monreal and Kolasinac.
And
both of those are left-sided players, and both of those play the wing back role rather than the left-hand side centre-half role. You know, so Wenger, I don't think, set up very well for the game anyway, because we've got 2 centre-halves out.
I think
why not just revert?
I think he had his tactics in mind and then just was too stubborn to change it last minute.
I think you're right, mate. I think you're right. I think it was a question of, this is how we are playing this season. It doesn't matter who I put back there. You're a defender and you're playing there. But that doesn't work in Premier League. You know, there's always going to be that uncertainty. If you're a fullback is a lot of getting forward and getting back these days in the Premier League. When you've all of a sudden then rooted into centre-half, I mean, let's be fair, Kolasinac might not have ever even played centre-half, mate. He was a left-back at Schalke, so he might not have even played in that position. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think he was the worst. Holding for me was the worst, but he's a young boy, mate, and he's probably hoaxed by Koscielny and Mustafi every single game, which makes him perform. As soon as he lost Mertesacker, that was it for me. Rob Holding just went off the face of the game. He wasn't even there, mate. His head wasn't there. It was terrible. And you're right, mate. The defending from both teams, apart from Harry Maguire on Leicester's side, I mean, if they didn't have him, mate, it could have been so many more. He was literally their best player.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, I mean, apart from just spotting the defense, you know, the most of the goals, there's some good balls setting them up.
Yeah.
Perfect on the spot you'd expect. But I think that was my main spot, is like, hang on, that neither team defended at all.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Right, so I think we've exhausted that game. I mean, it was a fantastic opener on a neutral's point of view, though.
Good
Absolute fantastic way to start the season. 7 goals, and let's be fair, it was entertaining. You know, it was a great game. You had both teams literally getting the game by the scruff of the neck. They were both trying to literally utilise the fact that both teams were terrible at defending, and they both went for it. So, what a goal! What a header from Giroud, by the way. Standing position. Jesus Christ. So fair play to Giroud as well. He's done it again. He's come off the bench. Right, let's move on. So the next one we've got on the list is Watford and Liverpool.
We start off with 7 goals in the first game. you know, Friday evening. We go to the 12:30 kickoff
on Saturday,
and then we get a 3-3 draw.
We get another 6
more
goals. I got to say, I watched this.
Tally's up to 13.
Yeah, tally's up to 13.
Yeah.
So I watched this one live. I watched the whole of the first half anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't watch the second half, so I don't really know a lot of what happened in the second half. I know it was 1-1 at half time. The most thing that stood out for me was Watford wanted to give him a game, which I thought was brilliant. That Okaka, my God, what a player! Like, he is an absolute mutant, isn't he? Good, yeah. I gotta say, mate, the one player that stood out for me on both sets of sides in that first half was Okaka. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Not only did he get his goal, assisting the goal, he also terrorised Liverpool's centre halves. I mean, terrorised them, mate. That boy is near on unplayable, and I think he'll do well against all of the big clubs if Watford play like they did against Liverpool. I'm worried about Okaka coming to the Emirates because he will muscle our boys up. I mean, our boys don't like it. You know, Koscielny, Mustafi, they're all big guys. Well, they're all strong guys, but he's a mutant. He's not just big. He was my standout player, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So I got here the first one for Liverpool. I've got some dodgy keeping. The poor keeping, but great header. Striker left completely alone. Again, spotting the defending.
Yeah.
For the Watford's first goal.
Yeah, that was the Okaka goal, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've done is I thought, oh, this is a brilliant idea. I'll just write down what I thought the goals, and that actually write who scored them. So I've completely forgotten who scored the goals.
Brilliant.
So I was just clicking in and trying to see if I can find the highlights anywhere. So I've just actually clicked into it.
I remember it was a corner, and it was a zonal marking again, wasn't it?
Yeah. The Lukaku ran from the edge of the area. Oh no, that wasn't him. He was stood still. Actually, it was someone else ran, put them off. He was stood on the 6-yard box, headed it, and Mignolet palmed it in his own net. Yeah,
terrible. I mean, it was a bullet of an header, don't get me wrong. That Lukaku's a beast, but definitely could have been prevented. 1, if you don't zone or mark, and 2, Mignolet's got to do better. You know, Liverpool are going to be, Liverpool fans want to be fucking challenging for the title this season, as they do every season, you know, and I just thought Mignolet, terrible.
So I've just seen Liverpool's first, actually, to make it 1-1. And they passing around the box for a little while and got the ball to Mane, and Mane slotted that home. That was a good finish.
That was a fantastic. And I've got to hear, mate, that Mane for me was Liverpool's best player. If Mane wasn't playing in that game, I generally don't.
Done that so much.
Yeah, I don't know where Liverpool's goals come from, mate. For me, Mane was fantastic in that first half. I don't know what he was like so much in the second, because obviously you only get the match of the day highlights. But first half, he was fantastic.
Yeah. I put down for Watford second, for the second Watford, poor defending again from Liverpool. So what I just said, that's the sort of things I put down.
That was the Decore goal, wasn't it?
That was the Decore goal, yeah. The ball coming from the outside. Liverpool tried to clear it. They didn't clear it. Weird. Bounced off one of the defenders.
Yeah.
Bounced off another defender. Just fell to the guy, and the guy had the whole net to score in.
That's right. Yeah, it was absolute calamity at the back for Liverpool. The third goal for Watford was offside or question mark.
So Watford's third goal, the ball came in from a corner. It was bouncing around everywhere. The ball came out to the edge of the byline or close to the I don't know what that line is. By the goal basically, and the guy played it back in, and the person he played it to was in an offside position. He was slightly offside. But the margins on it was so marginal.
It's so slim, isn't it?
His foot was offside, and the linesman was behind where the ball came in from.
Yeah,
so there's no way that linesman.
Nah, he's not spotting it. He's not spotting it. I think it was a little bit unfortunate because I thought it was offside.
Poor keeping again from the keeper because the ball came in. The keeper actually palmed it into his own net, virtually.
Yeah, terrible, mate. I've got here as well. Penalty. I think it was a penalty, mate.
Penalty. I think it was a penalty as well.
Definitely penalty.
Yeah, the keeper knew exactly what he was doing. He come in, he tried getting the ball. In fairness to him, he got the player. It was definitely a penalty. The keeper, I don't even think argued about it. He knew what he'd done.
I think
it was a good penalty as well.
I think overall, mate, Watford 3, Liverpool 3. I think brilliant game as a neutral for myself. I've got to say, Liverpool, I think, got quite lucky to come back from that and get a point.
Yeah.
Also, bad news for Liverpool. They've dropped 2 points already. That's not good news for them. But for me, Watford looked quite dangerous, mate. Watford played very, very well in that game. I'm pleasantly surprised with how Watford done. Definitely Watford for me with a better team. Liverpool don't look good. They need to buy something. They need to invest somewhere, and definitely, like you say, at the back is probably where they need to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on then. Is obviously.
Are you right in Chelsea Burnley?
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that?
This is obviously an absolute travesty for Chelsea.
So,
I can't be happier.
I think the first bit to start. I couldn't be happy, to be honest. I think the first place to start off with is Cahill's red card. Yeah.
Mate, I tell you what, right? It's a shame that it's so early in the game. He hasn't.
It is, yeah.
From what match of the day looked like, he's not really done anything else wrong since then. However, for me, mate, it is fucking horrendous. This day and age of football, admittedly, if you're talking like 1960s, mate, it's an half decent challenge. He's probably getting a yellow still for it. I think it's a red, mate. I think it is.
I'm actually surprisingly, because I'm not a fan of Chelsea. I don't really like him. I thought it was more of a yellow, but I can see why the referee gave red. He came in, his foot, yes, it went over the ball. It didn't really catch the player, but he did catch the player. So in my eyes, I didn't think it was a yellow. I thought, it's a dangerous tackle, but I didn't. Yeah.
I was surprised on that. I can see why he's giving it a red.
My first thoughts was yes, straight red, get that prick off. Yeah. But then I watched it again, and it didn't look. You see some of the tackles that come in, and players go over the ball, and they look like they want to, get the player.
I mean, I will give Cahill that.
Like he was going to go for the ball.
Yeah, I will give Cahill that. It did look like all ball was intended.
And he went over the ball, and the second he went over the ball, he was like, I'm getting my foot down now because I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, and I don't think he was out to hurt him.
No.
I think you're right. I think it probably spoiled Chelsea's chances from the off-go, because I think it happened on 14 minutes. So
it happened very early, yeah.
Yeah, so, Chelsea were down to 10 early doors.
Yeah. And then the second red card? I think we should go on to that.
The Fabregas one.
Fabregas. I mean, how stupid can you get? You clap the referee, you're going to get it. I mean,
the thing is, though, mate, it was 2 yellows, wasn't it? It wasn't a straight red.
2 yellows.
It was 2 yellows.
So the first yellow was possibly the stupidest thing you can get a yellow card for. Yeah. The referee gave a decision against you, so you applaud him.
This is something that you'd expect to see in Sunday League football, non-professional.
But not even in Sunday League football.
You're getting a yellow card
from an 11-year-old.
Exactly, and when you do it, that is dissent, and you're getting booked.
This guy is what?
And he's a central midfielder, mate. So let's be fair. At some point, you're gonna mistime a challenge.
Yeah.
And let's be fair. The referee is already pissed at you anyway. He's made that challenge. It's definitely a bookable offence, in my opinion. And because he's made the ridiculous clapping in the ref's face prior to that, at the end of the day, for me, he deserves to go.
And the second one, I mean, he come in for the challenge. The challenge itself was a yellow card. I mean, he went in, he missed the ball completely. He clipped the guy's ankles.
Yeah, it was a foul.
It was a harsh. Yeah, I mean, you can't make those sort of tackles. I mean, you can barely even slide in now when you're on a yellow card. But he went for the tackle as well, and he was never going to get it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He was he looked at the referee as if like, "What are you doing? Why are you sending me off?"
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. Compared to the Cahill one, it was so late. It was unbelievable.
I think that one had more malicious in it than what the Cahill one did.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And obviously, like you say, because of him already pissing the referee off, the referee probably couldn't have waited to get him another yellow card in that game. I think completely deserved. I think Fabregas has been absolutely ridiculously stupid there.
Yeah.
It's very, very unusual for Fabregas to be like so stupid on a bookable offence anyway. And clapping, I've never seen that from Cesc. It's almost, obviously, I mean, I watched Cesc for years at Arsenal, and even at a young age, he never done any nonsense like that. It's really quite strange. I don't know whether it's maybe some unrest at Chelsea or what. I don't know.
It's that new thing now in the league. It's that thing with Chelsea where they go, "Oh yeah, we've just lost the game. It's the referee's fault," and their fans
Yeah,
seem to think that the FA's got an agenda against them. It's like, you just won the league last season. How has the FA got an agenda against you?
yeah,
If they had an agenda against you, you wouldn't have won the league. Like,
yeah. Totally agree. Totally agree. They only won the league last year because they didn't have no European football. That's the only reason why.
that's
Their
why,
squad's
yeah,
not depthy enough. I'll tell you what, they're gonna make. They've
yeah,
got rid of more players this week. More players. You should
yeah,
see the Chelsea outs list on Sky Sports, mate. It's fucking humongous.
yeah.
But anyway, moving swiftly on from
Moving on.
that.
So the first goal, I mean, it was a good. Well, I don't think it was a meant finish.
No.
It went for the volley, scuffed it, and it went in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
So it looked better than what it was.
What I have got here, though, mate, is Chelsea's defending, mate.
It wasn't very good. They just sort of left him alone, left Sam Vokes alone.
The thing is, as well, is both their goals in the first half were from set plays. Now,
yeah,
very rarely,
kicks,
I mean, admittedly, Cahill was off the pitch, right? But very rarely Chelsea concede from set plays. You know,
the second one, the free kick was on the halfway line, and they passed it off, and no one closed him down.
That's right, yeah.
He made a couple of more passes, and they were just passing it back to him as he was advancing down the wing. Cuts inside. What a finish, I might add.
Yeah, Stephen Ward. What an absolute blinder.
The goal of the season.
What an absolute goal that is. Absolute cracking goal.
But he, not once was he picked up. I mean, he walked unaided, basically, into the Chelsea box.
Yeah, he did.
Had a shot.
It was terrible.
Terrible.
Terrible from Chelsea. Terrible from Chelsea. You don't expect that either. They're Premier League champions, for fuck's sake. You don't expect that. So yeah, Chelsea were terrible in the first half. And to be honest with you, mate, it wasn't just Cahill's challenge. I saw a hell of a lot of dirty challenges from Chelsea, which is also quite unusual. Chelsea aren't the dirtiest of teams. And there was a hell of a lot of dirty challenges going on there. And I mean, it's not exactly a derby, you know what I mean? Burnley is probably as far north as you can get from Chelsea. Ish. Obviously, Newcastle are in now, but still. Yeah, very, very strange first half, I've got to say. Absolutely fantastic from a neutral point of view.
The third was again from a short free kick. Again, wasn't closed down.
Terrible.
The ball in was perfect. Curled enough on the 6-yard box. Sam Vokes is a big guy.
He is a big
jumped
boy.
Straight up. On his own, no defend, no marking. Is that Kante with him? Was that? Oh no, that's it's David Luiz. David Luiz just left him alone. Didn't even go up for the header.
Yeah, terrible, mate.
I mean, quick free kicks in the Premier League is doing that. I mean, come on.
Silly.
I mean, I sent you a screenshot. I didn't notice Cahill had been sent off. I sent you a screenshot at half time. Like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, that was funny.
3-0 up.
I was like, what the hell? To be honest, mate, you sent me that, and I was like, no. Put Sky Sports on straight away. I was like, holy dog shit. I mean, let's be fair, Chelsea had a better second half.
They come back, yeah.
They come back. Morata. It was the Morata show in the second half, wasn't it?
Yeah.
An assist and a debut goal, which, again, good to see. Obviously, we were all kind of expecting or hoping that Morata would have a good season. Not because we like Chelsea, but more because I think both of us are quite interested in how Morata's going to come on in the Premier League. So it was nice to see him get a goal. Great little assist for his assist as well. The little dink over the top was pretty decent.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. And am I right in thinking that they had a goal disallowed for offside?
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did. Yes.
It was offside in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a touchy one. I mean, it's similar to the sort of Lukaku, not the Lukaku goal, but the one that United scored where Lukaku is ridiculously offside. The ball's actually played into the area of where Lukaku is. All right, he stood still, but like, is he involved with play? He might not be, but the ball's definitely gone towards that area. Like, for me, although United had a great game, we'll move on to United. I'm calling offside on that one. You know, it's played towards, like, just because he's left it. Goalkeeper's surely thinking, oh my god, is this going? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. We'll go on to that anyway in a bit. But yeah, for me it was offside.
I think I just watching the highlights again just to refresh my memory because I watched this on Sunday and written the notes.
Yeah, same here, mate. Well, I watched mine on Saturday. I watched mine on Saturday.
But yeah, I had it recorded and whatnot and watched it then. So I've forgotten most of the stuff that happened, but it was, I do remember vaguely a ball hitting him on.
What are you chatting about? We're chatting about football, J-Dog.
What do you think we're chatting about? So next up, I believe we got Crystal Palace Huddersfield.
We have, yeah, and what a start for the new boys.
Yes.
What
I mean,
start.
both of us had them losing.
We did. Both of us did have Huddersfield getting beat by Palace. Mainly, I think, because Palace have done all right in the transfer market. I think they were, they weren't too bad last season. I didn't think Huddersfield were going to have enough about them. I'll tell you what, though, mate. For me, the standout thing for me was that Mounier, mate.
Yeah, where did he come from?
Fuck knows, mate. We missed him, but I tell you what a player. He's fucking quick. He's strong. Yeah. And he looked dangerous every time he went forward. I mean, to be fair, Palace were lucky it was only 3, in my opinion. Yeah. That Mounier was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, I thought. Absolute bullet of a header as well for his first, for the second goal. The set play, I've got a set play goal scramble. I'm guessing that was their first goal.
The first goal, am I right? I think it was an own goal by. I've got Ward here, and it was an own goal. The wrong place, the wrong time. I think the ball come in and it just bounced off him.
Yeah, it was a bit of a random scrappy goal. But I'm like 20 minutes behind. Sorry, I had an accident with a spider and still. But yeah, one thing I will say though is Palace, like we sort of briefly mentioned earlier, Palace didn't have a bad game. I just think Huddersfield were extremely good at the back. I thought they defended avaliantly. I thought they were really good. And obviously having the outlet with Mounier up top, they looked quite a handy side.
Yeah. I think at one point I got here, brilliant defending from Fossey Mensah, but Mounier took way too long. I think there was a time when Mounier was one-on-one with the keeper.
That's right, and Fossey Mensah literally just levered him, mate. And that was an absolute...
That was great challenge. I mean, if he does that all season, he's definitely going to be in the United team next year.
Yeah, mate. I mean, that was an absolutely fantastic challenge. Yeah, I do remember that now.
I remember that was one of my main.
It was literally Mounier. Was it on for Mounier's hat trick?
I don't know. I got third was a great finish, and that was Mounier's second just afterwards. But I don't know.
I think Mounier only got 2.
My notes are pretty bad. He scored 2, but I'm pretty sure the third goal was the second one. But it might have been he was on his way for a hat trick. But I remember Fossey Mensah sprinting like a madman.
It was absolute blitz. I don't even know how he managed to get there before he cocked the trigger light. I really don't. It was a fantastic challenge. I didn't realise it was Fossey Mensah. I do remember the challenge.
I paid attention to that because it was Fossey Mensah.
It was a great challenge. But yeah, I think
it was a great finish as well.
The what? Sorry. Third was a great finish. Yeah. That was the Mounier one again, wasn't it? Second for Mounier?
Mounier was second, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good finish. I got to be honest, mate, I thought Huddersfield looked dangerous. They were very, very solid at the back. Thought they defended avaliantly. And with that outlet of Mounier, I mean, if he's scoring 2 against Palace, who, let's be fair, been in the Premier League a long old time now, mate. If he carries on with that and Huddersfield can carry on defending the way they did, I think they're going to have a good season. I think that we might have put them a little bit too low.
Yeah, it could be a bit dodgy for us.
Yeah. I think maybe we should have put Chelsea there and maybe Huddersfield up in second or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's a great start for Huddersfield. Fair play to them. I think it's always nice to see the new boys doing well in the first game.
Yeah.
And, for me, Huddersfield out of the 3 sides, we're probably better out of the 3. We'll obviously move on to the other 2. Great start for Huddersfield. I know that they probably had the easiest game out of all 3 teams coming up from the Championship.
Yeah.
But still, Palace is no easy team. I mean, we're talking about a Palace side here that literally love turning Liverpool over, you know? So,
yeah,
a great start for Huddersfield. I didn't see that coming at all, especially a clean sheet.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, both of us had Palace winning, didn't we?
Both of us had Palace winning. I think I said 2-0 Palace. So, which we will see on the next screen once we get through these.
I had 2-0 for Palace, actually. Yeah.
So, great start. Everton and Stoke.
Yeah, Everton Stoke. Now, the first, I mean, really scored the goal. I'm proud of it. I'm happy for him to score it.
Yeah, same here, mate. I'm happy about
I noticed that passion in that celebration. So I haven't seen him at Man United for the last few seasons.
I have not seen that.
And he sprinted.
I mean,
he just went for
he
it.
was one happy Shrek-looking fella, wasn't he? I mean, literally, mate, I thought he was going to burst a fucking hemorrhage or something out of his arse, let alone the veins that were popping out of his neck. I mean, if there was any vampires kicking around in that stadium, mate, they must have been absolutely frothing at the mouth at trying to get all of those veins, isn't it? Yeah, mate, what a celebration.
He wanted that. You can see he wanted it.
Mate.
My other thing is last week we were talking about Everton, some of the young players they got coming through, and we were talking about Davies, and I said, what about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who played for one of the England teams in their youth tournaments this season?
Yeah.
He put the ball in, and it was a fantastic ball in.
That was a great knock, mate.
He put the ball in.
Great knock.
Brilliant, yeah.
I've got to say, though, apart from that, I don't know what you saw on Match Today, mate, but it seemed really cagey.
It was. I think it was definitely one of those games where both teams were a bit nervous. It was the start. I mean, Everton haven't had time to gel their players together.
No, not at all. And you could tell, mate. You could tell. Yeah. I mean, it was a game. Apart from that great ball from Lewin, and obviously Rooney getting his first, which, to be fair, mate, was a great finish. It was a good finish, a typical Rooney style finish. Apart from that, mate, if that doesn't happen, mate, them highlights for me that Match Today showed had 0-0 written all over that game.
Yeah. I had a couple of notes from the second half. Great tackle from Zuma. Chelsea might actually need him.
Yeah, I think they might be. The amount of
a pass
players
from
they've sent
Rooney.
out.
He played a nice little through ball for Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
Who was through and goal, and Zuma come in sort of similar to
Fosu-Mensah. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, good challenge. It was just a very cagey affair, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the next highlight they showed was a mistake from Zuma, left Calvert-Lewin in. He probably should have passed, but I don't blame him for having a go. I mean, he's a young lad at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I mean, it was an all right game from what I could see. Obviously, a great start for Everton, especially with obviously spending so much money. And let's be fair, whenever you play Stoke, home or away, they are a difficult cookie to break. So good start for Everton, especially with the money that they've spent.
In charge, aren't they?
Yeah, they have, mate. Yeah, and he's a very, very clever defensive manager. Yeah, he's very, very good. So yeah, I think good start for Everton, but it was very cagey. I'm hoping that Everton are going to express themselves a little bit in the coming weeks, because I'd like to see them do well, and I'm hoping that Stoke the same, especially with the couple of signings that they've obviously made today or this week or whatever it is. So we'll just have to see how that pans out. Okay, so Southampton and Swansea.
So the first bit, I thought this was going to be the only bit I had from this game when I saw it was a 0-0. I've got Abraham, so that's Tammy Abraham, the guy they've loaned in from Chelsea.
Yep.
And I just put,
literally just got cropped, didn't he? No, that wasn't him. That wasn't him. So I'm thinking of a different Chelsea player. I'm thinking of the Brighton one.
Yeah, I got Abraham as a tool fucker and definitely looks like one to watch. I think it was early on, the ball come in and he just muscled two centre backs.
Yeah.
And jumped and got the header. I mean, it wasn't the best of headers, but he definitely looks like one to watch.
Yeah, no, he does look decent.
I thought that was all I was going to have.
One thing I will say about this game is 0-0 probably is a little bit unfortunate for both sides. It was an extremely open game. Both teams missed some absolute sitters, is what I've got written down here. And I do remember a lot of, I say a lot, there was good 2-3 chances for both sides where they should have at least hit the target, and they've just blazed it. I've
got Southampton have had 2 clear chances and you should have scored both of them.
Yeah.
I've also got
Swansea in the second half had a couple.
I got Southampton penalty iffy, so I don't know where
I'm not sure what you've got that from. I think we might need to be a little bit more extensive with our notes.
I'm definitely going to have to be more extensive. I thought, it's fine, I'll remember all
this
shit.
So did I, mate. And I do remember it being a very open game, and I do remember both teams missing chances. And
I've also got claims of handball, did hit him on the hand, but the shot was point blank. There was no way he was going to move a hand. It was travelling so fast.
This is the other one. This is the other one I was saying about, because this one, his arm was actually up slightly, wasn't it?
It was up, but
you couldn't.
The ball was travelling so fast. He just put the hand in front of his face.
He didn't get a chance to put it down, did he? And again, this is where the grey area comes in of what is a handball.
In my eyes, I think you can say that was a deliberate handball. But
yeah, I agree with you.
In my eyes, if he hadn't have put his hand in front of his face then,
he's getting clean knocked out.
He was coming off the pitch, unconscious, with a broken nose.
And potentially concussion.
And potentially concussion. And you never know with a concussion on how long you could be out for. You could be out for a week. You could be out for
months.
3 years. I mean, it could even be worse. And I mean, in my eyes, I would have preferred him to, if he got, I don't think it was a penalty. I wouldn't have given a penalty.
No, I don't think I wouldn't have given it.
Yeah.
But you're right. At what point are you allowed to call a handball as protection? Because that's all he's doing. And I'm not being funny, mate, but I'm not letting a ball being rocketed in my face like that. No chance. No. Not for however many wages.
Where he was when the ball. It would have
gone wide anyway, wouldn't it? if I remember rightly.
I don't know where it was going, but it was less than 5 yards away from him when he smashed it.
It was so close. It was so. I do remember it, mate. I think no penalty for me. I'm with you.
No, I'm no penalty. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to West Brom versus Bournemouth. For me, first... go for it, mate. Go for it.
All right. So I noticed from the goal that Higazi, who scored it, apparently he's a big bloke.
He is a big boy, mate. But that's a typical West Brom type player, isn't it? They love their big centre halves because of their set plays.
Yeah. And I looked at his mark, and he got Pulis, who loves a big player.
Yeah.
Bournemouth had 4 guys watching him. 4 players watching him. And he still got their header off.
Danny Boy is just saying, sorry for taking it backwards, but fair review on Watford versus Liverpool game. Apart from that, I personally think that it was a fair game and a draw was fair. Yeah, I tell you what, Danny Boy, both me and Jakey are massive fans of Akaka. We're really looking forward to seeing him for the rest of the season, mate. Yeah, Kaka, or Cocker, whatever the fuck the beast. The absolute mutant.
He looks like a big man, yeah.
Oh, mate, yeah. I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to see him again, mate. I loved watching that boy live. He absolutely ruined him, right?
Yeah. He had some challenges last season as well. Sorry.
That's right, mate. Yeah, we're drifting off.
We've drifted off again.
Higazi.
I said Higazi had like 4 defenders following and still scored. Unlucky on Begovic, as played very well. He played really well before that, but the header bounced in front of him and went straight through his legs. I mean, that's right. He probably could have saved it if he reacted a little bit quicker. But at the end of the day,
right. Yeah. The one thing I've got from it, I mean, the Higazi header again from a set play. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that if there was going to be a goal for West Brom, it's going to be coming from a set play. They do love their set plays, and let's be fair, they're extremely good at them. Because I mean, I remember going to the Hawthorns last season, Arsenal, and we got dicked. I think we were 3-0 down, mate, and all 3 were from set plays in the first half. One note I've got, mate, is obviously new boy Rodriguez. He, considering he was injured pretty much the whole of last season,
he looked quite sharp, didn't he?
Yeah, mate, and that's exactly what I've got here. Rodriguez looks damn sharp.
Apparently, wasn't much influence down the wing because they swapped him out down the wing when they brought on Rondon.
That's right. First half, he was so influential. Anyway. Yeah, same here, mate. He is a striker out and out. The first half, he was so influential, mate. I thought he played absolutely fantastic. Second half, mate, it was almost like he won on the pitch. They pushed him out wide to bring in Rondon. Don't get me wrong, Rondon played well. I think there's going to have to try and find a balance where I think they play Rondon and Rodriguez together. Yeah. Because let's be fair, West Brom quite good at playing that 4-4-2 role. And Rodriguez will be the boy that will drift off from Rondon anyway. He won't
Rondon's
play.
A big guy, isn't he? Rondon's a tall guy.
That's it, mate. I think that's it, mate. I think Rondon and Rodriguez combination, it will be very, very good.
Yeah, and he's not the quickest to play for Rodriguez, but he knows how to win foot races. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
He looks quicker than what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good player, mate. I've always liked Rodriguez. It was a real shame because obviously he was picked to go to the Euros with England and then got injured.
He got injured,
and I think he could have probably. He did look wicked for Southampton that season.
He probably would have ended up at Liverpool.
He probably would have done. And I think that he would have played a lot of games for England in that Euros as well, mate. And he probably, not getting that injury, probably would be trying to fight Kane for that number 1 spot up top for England. I think he was fantastic in that season, and he looks like he's back to his best. I think it's a shame that he didn't grab a goal, but let's be fair, there wasn't much that went his way from a set play. So
my next bit I got is BBC Match of the Day highlighted this, and I didn't agree with it. Basically, there was a ball in the box. I think it was a Bournemouth corner, something like that. Ake took a fall from a header on target, so it was definitely something from Bournemouth. Yeah. So Nathan Ake won a header, got the shot on target, not much. He took a fall. The player that was marking him sort of fell backwards a little bit and stood on him, and the BBC were trying to make out like, oh yeah, he intended it. I didn't look. He didn't look at the player at all.
Like it to me.
He stepped backwards. I mean, he caught him slightly, And I think he apologised as well afterwards. So
yeah, I think we're going to be moving on to another stamp.
I think we are
shortly. That I think we might have a different opinion on, in my opinion.
Oh, hello. Wow, there's lots of comments just appeared.
There is a lot of comments. There is hey, Rapid Bloodfish, how you doing, dude? Welcome to stream. All I can think about this game is haha, Bournemouth diving twats. Makaka is a bigger Rondon. Got a good point there.
Yeah.
Bigger Rondon and better. He is better, Danny. I think Akaka is a fantastic player. I cannot wait to see him for the rest of the season, mate. I think he's going to destroy Arsenal, if I'm honest. Yeah, I know.
What else we got? We got Brighton and City.
Yeah, Brighton and Man City. Now, I've got to be honest, I don't know what Man City thought of this game, but I watched this game live, and it is literally 90 minutes of my life that I'm never going to get back. What an absolute shocker.
Brighton played like a newly promoted team. They just thought,
they just sat behind the ball.
Man City. You can fuck off. We'll let you attack, and we'll just hit
totally
you on the counter if we need to.
It's a shame for Brighton fans because obviously it's their first home game of the season, and Brighton did not attack at all.
I suppose so. At the end of the game, if you asked a Brighton fan at the end of the game, what would you prefer? Us to attack and play Man City and get dicked, or us to defend and try and hold City and maybe sneak a point or even sneak 3 points? And I think at the start of the game, they would have said, yeah.
Yeah, I think that Brighton fans would have definitely taken the point. 0-0 at half time. I've got to be honest, mate. All I've got written down here, mate, because obviously I watched it live and I was like, this is fucking boring.
Yeah.
I was so bored in the first half because not only did Brighton defend, but City didn't really even give them anything to really think about. They were playing football in front of like the midfielders, you know, so they didn't even. Yeah. It was terrible. First half was terrible for me. Brighton didn't do a hell of a lot of forward thinking. It was literally just route one and hope to shit that their forward got onto it. Yeah. I mean, I suppose in the end, what you could say is City were extremely patient and got the win. Yeah. But for me, I think it was a case of tiredness because I thought City were terrible, mate. I really did think they were bad.
I got here, what a ball from De Bruyne, but it was handball and rightly disallowed.
Yeah.
No malice in it, no card.
And it was a great ball, though.
De Bruyne levered a ball over the top and Gabriel Jesus got onto it.
Yeah, it was Gabriel. It definitely a handball.
Bounced up, and it was very unlucky on him because the ball bounced up and hit his hand. But at the end of the day, that's one there has to be given as a handball because if it hadn't hit his hand,
it's gone somewhere else. Yeah, totally agree. But yeah, I got to be honest. Obviously, we've gone through a few of the top teams so far, and for me, even Liverpool, right? City probably the worst for me, mate. I mean, they just did not want to put the nail in the coffin. You know, there was hardly any chances. I think I'm actually generally curious of how many chances that there are on the stats because I don't remember them having a hell of a lot of shots in that game, and the two that they did have were in the back of the net. I think they could have absolutely destroyed Brighton because they were by far the dominant team. They were just piss-assing around in front of the midfield. They were just, I don't know, there's just no urgency there. The only one that looked urgent was Aguero, and he hardly saw the fucking thing.
For the City's goal, I got a brilliant attack from City, and I think they put the ball through to Aguero. And I said, Aguero is always scoring that. Aguero,
mate, it's on the on the right hand side, and he just levered it. It was a great goal.
And I know I put unlucky second goal. Keeper probably should have saved it. The ball came in, and the guy headed it backwards. I assume he was heading it towards his keeper.
So apparently City had 14 shots. I was going to say 4 on target. That sounds about right. I mean, they were pop shotting from God knows how far out. I mean, they weren't even testing the keeper. I thought it was boring. Yeah, exactly. Considering they had 78% of the possession. I mean, that was pretty much all game as well, mate. I remember at one point, I think Brighton, in one stage of that game, in the last 5 minutes, they sometimes show you the percentage, don't they, of the last 5 minutes? I think they had like 9% or something stupid. You know, it was a boring game. I'm looking forward to City getting tested.
See what does happen,
because that for me, I don't know whether they sort of lowered themselves to that style of football because they were playing Brighton. I don't know. I'm not taking anything away from Brighton. I thought in the first half they defended relatively well and they done their job, which was, you could tell they were just playing for the draw. I hope I don't have to watch another game like that from Brighton again live on TV though.
Yeah. The other thing I did note down was the keeping from City. I'm not sure if it was one of their Brighton's only attacks or what, but the first time that keeper, the new one, the £34 million guy, got tested, he
Yeah.
looked a bit dodgy.
He did, mate. I'll agree with that. This is that Edison fella, isn't it?
Edison or whatever, yeah, the
Yeah,
£34
he
million
didn't look,
goalkeeper.
like you say, he didn't look great. And we're talking about a Brighton side here. Again, don't take nothing away from Brighton. I know that they didn't really express themselves in this game. But
I don't know if it wasn't because he didn't have any sort of attacking.
Maybe
going
it was,
towards
mate.
him,
I
so
mean,
he's a bit
cold.
tired
He
or
was
cold
probably
or,
fucking as
yeah.
bored as I was. He had to watch it as
He
well.
spent half the game asleep.
Yeah, he had to watch it as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he was probably as bored as I was. Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. Terrible game to put on Sky. I hope Sky, BT, whoever it is, don't put too many City games on this season because I don't think they're going to be entertained.
No.
Right, as for the next two, mate, I don't have any notes because I watched this today, so I'd like to think that it's relatively fresh in my head.
I mean, I watched the Spurs second half, most of the second half live, and I watched Man United West Ham live, but I didn't take much notes because I had people around at the time. I watched the first half of Man United, so that's the only one I did actually watch live. Watched the first half of Man United because I was out Sunday with the kids. Came in, watched the first half of United, and then I had to go and play, go down and sort our other MonStars team out down at the football. So I missed the second half, but I did watch the highlights today. So I'm gonna start with
Newcastle Spurs.
This is the first one. So the first bit, I mean, Ali definitely did his job. I think he was definitely getting in around and getting the Newcastle players riled up.
I tell you what though, mate, he doesn't like a challenge, does he, Dele Alli?
He got
crunched, didn't he, at one point, which was that
from the cells.
Great challenge, I might say.
Tackle, and
he did not like it.
What the? But he definitely done what he wanted because he wound up the cells. He pissed the cells off.
Yeah, he did.
The cells wanted to do it again.
He was angry.
The next bit, I got bad tackle from Kane. Yellow at best, for my opinion.
That was a terrible challenge. Typical striker's challenge, wasn't it?
A striker's talent. I saw this comment. I said, if it was someone like Diego Costa, someone that's got a reputation for being a heavy fucker with their challenges, he would have been sent off. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a striker challenge. But if it's someone like Kane, hasn't really got much reputation for doing something like that. I mean, it was a bit of a dodgy tackle. In my eyes, I don't think he meant to crop the player or scissor the tackle the player, because again, he's a striker. I think he was actually going for the ball and he was running for the ball.
Yeah, he was, mate. It's just a typical strike,
and it's just unlucky on Lejeune because it's his debut in the Premier League. He's picked up an injury.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right there, mate. He walked off. Like you say, it was a shocking challenge, but again, I suppose like the referee, we're on the understanding that Kane's not the sort of person that goes out of his way to hurt people.
Yeah.
It's a typical striker's challenge. It's really, really unfortunate. I'm with you, man. It's unfortunate for the Newcastle fella. But that said and done, I'm with you. Kane should have still been booked at minimum for it.
And then I would like to lead on this one.
Go for it.
It's the red card. I mean, Dele Alli got tackled.
Yeah.
He went down. He grabbed the ball like they do. The referee gave handball against him.
Like a fanny, yeah.
Yeah, the referee gave the free kick against him. He wasn't happy. He held onto the ball.
Yeah.
And then just rolled the ball away. And then, out of the blue, for no apparent reason, Jonjo Shelvey stood on him. Like, what? Why? The referee stood there.
It, mate.
The referee watched it.
Literally, the referee looked. Just as he stood on him, the referee was looking straight at it.
And I've seen so many people say, well, what's the point in standing there? I mean, at the end of the day, it gave a little bit of pain to Dele Alli. What if you're going to stamp on someone and get yourself? Well, I mean, he didn't even stamp. He stood on him. If you want to,
he might as well have stood on his head.
You might as well just stamped on him and broke his ankle and get a red card. Yeah, he might have got a couple of extra games, but it was just fucking stupid.
I'm really, 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 really shocked at Shelvey for doing this.
Yeah.
Shelvey's not the sort of player that you associate with like stamping and stuff like that. He's a great challenger of the ball. He can mistime his challenges, and obviously because he's a strong challenger of the ball, sometimes they do look relatively dirty. But as for stamping, you don't associate Shelvey with stamping. Now, why he's done it, I mean, again, like you said, I think it is just a case of Dele Alli was under their skin.
He got under his skin, and he did it well. He did it
really well.
He's one of those players. I mean, he was right under the Newcastle fans hated him more than what they did to Zoko.
Yes, mate.
I mean, he definitely did what he needed to do. He got the players pissed off. I mean, he got the players angry at him. He didn't care. he was laughing. I mean, he did a press conference at the end, and he said, you know, he didn't have any problems with the players. He just did what he needed to do, and they were pissed off with him.
I didn't see that. I obviously didn't see that.
I
was
didn't
at
pay
work
much
when I
attention
watched
to
it, so I didn't hear any.
That was on IT. That was on. Oh no, that was on Sky actually.
Oh, was it? But yeah, I think it's a shame because that changed the game.
It did change the game.
Shelby's nonsense changed the game.
What I didn't like about it is Shelby is one of those players, and you know he has ability. You can see he's got the ability.
Yeah, mate. Another underrated midfielder.
When you do shit like that, I mean, he's a player that's sort of come in, and he's always looked like he could be a good player, but he's just thick as shit.
You can't do shit like that, mate. Not in the Premier League. I don't understand it either. It's not like it's his first season in the Premier League. He played for Swansea for a good couple of seasons. Yeah. It's just silly.
It was only 42 minutes in. It was still 0-0. Why?
He's literally that stupid rash decision that he's made has cost Newcastle a point. In my opinion,
what might have happened in the second half.
No idea, mate. Because in my opinion, it's cost Newcastle a point. Because at that point, I thought that Newcastle...
Tottenham weren't really doing much. Newcastle were holding them off and giving them...
I thought that they were giving them as good as they get. I thought the game was very relatively open. Both teams are having chances. For me, I thought Newcastle looked probably the better team at that particular moment in time. As soon as that card comes, mate, it's literally the second half from what I saw was just all Spurs. Literally all Spurs. Newcastle done very, very little. Obviously down to 10 men. The only good thing I will say about this... Voldemort got angry again. The only good thing I will say about this is, for me, Newcastle did look pretty good. They're coming up against a team that finished second last season. Second? They did finish second. Yep. You know, they finished second last season. And I don't think that Newcastle were completely outplayed by a team that finished second last season. I thought they were by far in the game, which is good news for Newcastle. The real shameful thing is I think Newcastle fans will probably get on the back of Shelby as well now. Because for me, if I'm watching that and I'm a Newcastle fan, my personal opinion, he's cost them a point. Because we don't know what would have happened in the second half anyway. However, with 11 men on the field, Newcastle were I thought they were the better team at that moment in time. They could have probably come away with 3 points at home as well. So yeah, a real shame for me. Don't get me wrong, Spurs did turn it on as soon as they went down to 10 men. You know, Spurs come out the second half and Kane hit the post and he had another shot saved. So he could have had two really. He had that one-on-one that he blazed straight at Elliott.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, for me, it could have been way worse. But all of these highlights from Spurs were after the red card.
Yeah.
Prior to that,
my next actual note is actually if Kane's tackle was a red card, then Richie's definitely was as well.
Yes.
Now Richie's was the one where Dele Alli
that was in the build-up of one of the Spurs attacks, wasn't it? It happened on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and he can't. Basically, what he's done is Dele Alli was, Dele Alli again.
And he got away from him. He just smashed him, didn't he?
And he just come up and he done that schoolboy thing where you just kick their leg as they're running, so it bounces into the other leg.
That's right.
I mean, that pissed the fans off because he was there rolling around in front of them, just like. But yeah, again, Richie got some pop from his fans, but. You know, if Kane was the red card, that was deliberate. He wasn't going for the ball. He just kicked out at him.
Deliberate. Yeah, I agree with you.
So my next bit is actually the goal. So it was where Dele Alli was on the edge of the area or something. He just made the run, knowing that Ericsson would play the ball.
No one picked him up, mate.
Ericsson played the ball. Ericsson played the ball that hit exactly where he wanted it, right in. And Dele Alli was scoring it. I got him as my captain, just saying.
Yeah. I mean, he's 3 yards out when he's put that ball in as well, mate. I mean, great run.
3 yards out, and no one was more.
Dele Alli's obviously knows where that ball's going because it looked to me like Sigurdsson didn't even look. Ericsson didn't even look.
He didn't even look. He just played it.
Great ball in.
They know what they're doing.
Dele Alli knew exactly where it was going to be. No one picked him up. I want to see a Newcastle player following him there, or at least picking him up. It was very, very strange. He was completely alone. I mean, he run through. Two centre half, well, the right back and the centre half. They run through those two. Not one of them decided to run with him. It was very, very strange. Don't know whether they thought, oh, that's in keeper domain. Keeper will come out and claim that or not. I'm not sure. I mean, it was that 50-50 area. Rob Elliott could probably do more, but it's a good first goal. Good first goal. obviously Dele Alli off the mark.
And the second goal was a bit of a bounce.
Was it Ericsson?
Ben Davies.
Oh, yes. Very good, well-played goal. Sigurdsson assist again, wasn't it?
Ericsson.
Sorry,
when you say
Sigurdsson. Fuck's sake.
When you say Ericsson assist, they were passing around really well. Ericsson made a run into the box. It was blocked by someone, and then the ball bounced off of Ericsson's foot.
That's right. And he stopped dead, didn't he? Yeah, he stopped dead, and Davis took it off him almost.
And just scored, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that now, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good goal for Davis. But again, mate, I can't help but think... I mean, yeah, Kane hit the post as well. Yeah. A shame for Kane. Kane always starts shit, doesn't he? Like, he can't buy a goal to start with.
He's never scored... He hasn't scored a Premier League goal in August.
That doesn't surprise me, mate. I mean, he looked average at best, but he done this last season and ended up fucking... What was it, second top goal scorer?
He was top scorer, 25, I think. One above Lukaku.
Yeah, all right, okay, so Lukaku was saying. But yeah, for me, mate, I don't know what it is with Kane. He just can't get going. But once he gets going, he's fine. But then he'll get injured.
Yeah.
But then he'll come back and he'll still score. It's really weird. Like, he just doesn't have... He doesn't have anything in him to start with. It's really quite strange. I mean, that one that hit the post, mate, if he goes the other way, because Rob Elliott's literally just made himself big. If he goes the other way and comes near post, I think he scores. Instead of going across the keeper. But anyway, Kane looked bright. But this is all after the red card. For me, I think Newcastle were in that game and probably could have taken something away from it if that red card doesn't happen. Yeah. I thought they were very unfortunate. I think the fans were unfortunate and hard done by from a silly mistake. It's a red card all day long. He's meant to do it. But yeah, for me, silly mistake. Newcastle were in the game prior to that.
Yeah. And then I've got one last bit as a sort of jokey bit. Who needs Kyle Walker when you can have Kyle Walker-Peters?
Well, yeah, this is it.
That was the right back.
I mean, I tell you what, he played well.
Kyle Walker.
He played well,
and he got man of the match.
He played really well, mate. I thought he was fantastic.
He was really good. Yeah,
he was really good.
So he got man of the match in that game.
Doesn't surprise me. So then we move on to last but not least, the last game of the weekend, which is obviously, well, like I say, I watched the first half of this. I've got to say, before we go on to anything else, I thought West Ham were going to show up and do a little bit more than what they did.
Yeah.
They were very, very cagey. Admittedly, first game of the season. Again, it's going to take a while for the new boys to gel. Just on a side note, obviously, before we get into the goals and that, I thought Hart was below average at best, mate. I mean, that Pogba goal, he's a hell of a long way out.
Yeah.
And it's not right in the corner.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like buried, nestled right in the bottom corner. I mean, it's like a good yard off the post. I mean, Hart for me was pretty poor. But take nothing away from United. I've got to say, out of the top 4 teams going forward, I think Arsenal and United were by far the more superior sides this week. I thought they were absolutely
Chelsea
brilliant.
were down to 10 very early. And
Liverpool
were a bit dodgy.
Liverpool were dodgy. Spurs, I thought, were average until Newcastle got the... Man City didn't want it. So, for me, the big teams at the top end, I think United and Arsenal looked extremely good going forward. Lukaku, for me, I eat my words straight away. I'm going to hold my hands up and say, fair one. 90 million, probably still a little bit too much money. I weren't sure if he was going to score too many goals, but I thought he was fantastic. I thought he played really, really well. Rashford was absolutely on fire.
Rashford was fucking
I thought he had
brilliant.
Such a good game. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. So my first thing I noted was it looks like it could be back to Man United of old. They come out.
Yeah, I totally agree. They didn't do Route 1.
Goals,
it wasn't Route 1. It was all football, mate.
The first goal, the ball was chased down. I believe it was by Mata, who blocked the pass. It went to Rashford. Rashford sprinted, stormed up the pitch, cut in a little bit, just played a ball across. Lukaku ran onto it, right in the corner, right in the post. What a play! And then the second goal came from a free kick, but the free kick came from another counter attack. I believe it was Rashford again. Sprinted down the left wing.
I believe it was.
I don't know why Zavaleta did that. He just come in and blocked.
He sort of like stopped, didn't he? It was really weird. He was going backwards, and he sort of like stopped to try and duke him or something, and then decided, actually, no, I'm just going to stay here. I don't know whether it was his old age or what, but he literally just stopped and clattered him. Let Rashford run into him, pretty much. It was a really strange decision. I don't know why he made it.
The ball, I think that was from Blind. Blind had a good game as well, playing left back.
Blind did play very well,
put the ball in on the penalty spot, and Lukaku was there, headed it straight in the corner.
Yeah,
I mean, there wasn't much you could do. Both of Lukaku's, there was nothing the keeper could really do with that.
No, I mean, the one off the post, that goes anywhere, mate. I mean, the one off the post, that's not always going in the back of the net.
Is that going in? Come on.
Yeah, that's it. That's not always going in. I mean, that's coming out. It's going wide. It was just it was a good goal. Don't get me wrong, but that goes anywhere. You know, that type of strike. I mean, it was a hell of a powerful. I think the only reason it goes in is because of how much power he had on it.
Yeah. I saw it. I just said yes halfway through your talking. It wasn't actually to you. I was talking about M. Flynn's comment. Suffered when he didn't have Carrot last season. I think Matic will help in those games.
Oh, this is Matty Flynn. This is a guy. This is a guy local to us as well, Jakey. He's I used to play football for him. I used to go to school with him.
All right.
He's a top lad, Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I won't say much about that. Yeah, so last season they didn't, because they were trying to play Fellaini in that character role, and Fellaini's just shit. that's about as much as I can go to describe him. Matic definitely looks like he
terrible.
Could be.
Mate, in fact, we missed that rumour actually, mate. Have you heard that Fellaini's linked with Juventus?
I saw Fellaini's linked with Juventus, and I smiled a little bit.
Mate, they must be after a central midfielder because that's Fellaini and Wiltshire now. So yeah, very, very interesting Juventus linkage there. But yeah, he's terrible. He is terrible for me. And I think you're right. I think Matic, he's one of those players. He's a proven Premier League player. He breaks up play very, very well. I think Man United, again, as usual, probably overspent on him. But not overspent on an average player. I mean, they've overspent on a Chelsea player that's been in the Chelsea squad for like the last 4 seasons, solid. Yeah. He's a good player, mate, and I think he will at least break up that play, which is all you need him to do.
And then the other 2 goals were actually a different style of play. I think West Ham started putting more numbers behind to try and stop them scoring.
They did.
And the third goal, which was Martial, he'd only just come on the pitch, in fairness. They were passing the ball around the edge of the area for a little while. Martial made a run, completely unmarked, and went through and scored it.
Yeah.
And then the 4th goal, Man United were passing around the halfway line for a little bit and slowly moving forward.
This is Pogba's goal, isn't it?
Pogba made the run. Yeah, and he just blasted it. I mean, he put power on it. Yeah.
It was a great strike, don't get me wrong.
It was a great strike, yeah.
But Hart's got to do better there for me, mate. He's a hell of a long way out. I mean, he has hit it relatively hard, but it's not the hardest shot I've seen in the world, you know? It's not a rocket, you know, and it's a good yard in from the post. I mean, it's terrible from Hart. He's got to at least get somewhere. He's nowhere near it, mate. Literally nowhere near it. He reacted late to it. I thought it was terrible. Great goal, don't get me wrong. Great goal from Poggers. And obviously you want to see more of that from him this season, especially with having Matic as your holding midfielder. You want to see Poggers getting forward a lot more and getting some goals from him, you know. But at the same time, I thought it's a shame because I thought with the signings that West Ham had made, I thought they were going to do a lot better. I got to be honest, I think, you know, there was no red cards or anything like that. I got to be honest, I think United just completely and utterly outplayed them. So we'll have to see how they get on, but I thought they were average at best. But fair play, I've got to say, the team of the week for me, Jakey, has got to be United for myself. I don't know about you.
I mean, people might say I'm being biased, but
no,
I would say Man United. Close second, Huddersfield.
Yeah, I think Huddersfield were also extremely good, especially Munier. And after that, I'd say probably Watford, mate. I think Watford had a great game against Liverpool. But yeah, team of the week for me is definitely Manchester United. I thought they were great. I thought they looked really, really good. Great opener for them. I mean, how many goals have we got here? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 18, 19, 24, 28, 29, 30. 31 goals in the first week of football.
31.
Happy days, that is. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Right. That is the review. Moving swiftly on, and we have got.
Is the next bit how well our predictions went?
This is our predictions, yeah. So this is our week 1 predictions. So I'll rattle through these quickly because what we're going to do is we are going to say we're going to like individually say what our score predictions are going to be for this week. But basically, here we go. Arsenal obviously beat Leicester 4-3. I had it down as a 2-0. Jakey had it down as a 1-0. So we've both got a point off of there from predicting the right outcome. But I got to be honest with you, I don't think neither me nor Jakey saw that
Arsenal
many goals.
usually start bad, but I wasn't expecting them.
Yeah, Arsenal do usually start bad. I didn't expect them to get 4 goals, but I didn't expect them to dump 3 either. 3-3 Watford and Liverpool. Now, Jakey actually predicted a draw in this game. I thought Liverpool were going to beat them convincingly. I take it all back. They had a Kaka. And that was the game changer for me. Kaka was brilliant and Liverpool were terrible at the back. So, yeah, Jakey gets another point there. Chewy gets none. Chelsea, what the fuck? I've got that the wrong way around. It was Chelsea 2, Burnley 3. So obviously I went for a 1-0 Chelsea. Jake went for a 3-0 Chelsea. That's why we both ended up with no nil points because Burnley beat them. I don't know why I've got that way around. Typo!
That's it,
okay, so Crystal Palace 0, Huddersfield 3. Again, both me and Jakey both went for 2-0 wins for Crystal Palace, so we both ended up with nil points. Everton 1, Stoke 0. I went for a 2-0 win for Everton, and Jakey went for a 2-1, so both got a point. Southampton 0, Swansea 0. Both of us went for a draw. Unfortunately, Jakey got the right result. Winner, chicken score. Dinner. And I got the correct outcome, so I only get 1 point. West Brom 1, Bournemouth 0. So we both thought West Brom were going to win. Unfortunately, none of us could get the right result, but still get a point. Brighton 0, Man City 2. Both of us went for big wins on the old Man City Brighton game.
But they didn't show up.
And they didn't show up. Thanks very much, Man City. 1 point each. Newcastle 0, Tottenham 2. We both had this as a very high scoring affair. I think that's probably going on past seasons when Tottenham and Newcastle played each other. Extremely.
I mean, they said in the game last time Newcastle played Tottenham was 5-1.
5-1, right. So, I mean, definitely potential. I'll definitely give it that.
Yep.
Definitely potential for Newcastle. Unfortunately, because of John Joe Selby and his silly mistake, they've come out 2-0 deficit loss. But we got the right outcome anyway, so 1 point each. Man United 4, West Ham 0. I'm pretty sure, we both expected a high-scoring game, but not one-sided high-scoring, I might add. And Man United literally dumped them out, but we both got the correct outcome. So, the scores on the doors, Chewy on 7 points, and Jakey is actually in the lead right now with 10. But obviously, we've got a lot of points to go, and we've obviously got Golden Glove points to come into this, Golden Boot points to come into this. So there's a lot more points to come. It is week 1. Jakey is 3 points ahead of Chewy, so he needs a good correct score and a couple of 1-pointers this week. So with that in mind, we're going to move on to our
predictions.
Predictions for no. What we'll do is we'll do the fantasy review first, and then we'll finish up with our predictions. Why not? Let's mix it up. So we thought this week. We're both playing the Fantasy Premier League, so we decided this week to show you how we got on, because some of you aren't in our league. If you do want to get into the league on Fantasy Premier League, this is not the thing I want to give you. I need to give you this over here, and I need to go to leagues, options, invite friends. I need this. Control C. Okay, guys, so if you want to join in the league that Chewy and Jakey compete in, by all means do so. This is it here. That's the league ID that you need to join our league. You're more than welcome. We've got no problem with anybody joining. It makes no odds to us. Happy to have you along for the ride. So yeah, basically Chewy done extremely well in game week 1 with his fantasy football. I got Lacazette there had 12 points for me. You can't see it because of my giant head in the way because of the overlay. But Lacazette I had as my captain. I was hoping he was going to get a couple. I'm glad he's off the mark. I think I had an automatic substitute because Iwobi didn't
I think it makes one change if people don't play.
If they don't play, it makes one. Yeah, it does.
Mine, it took Sigurdsson out and put
a defender, didn't it? Shawcross, yeah. So yeah. I had, I believe I had a 3-4-3. So I think Iwobi's been pulled out, and I think it's Ake that's been put in. So I've got an extra 3 points there. It's a shame that I didn't have. It's a shame I didn't have Schindler's List as my #1 substitute, because that means he would have got in. I would have actually had an extra 3 points there. I would have been on 70. But hey ho, what do you know? Come along and play with the tweenies. I just noticed that Jakey's got Sigurdsson there, so that's quite a little cheeky little number there actually. In the bank you've got there, Jakey.
Yeah. I'm now regretting some of the decisions I made.
Yeah, well, oh really? Oh really? It might be. Oh, that's a silly mistake in a maker. I've got to be honest, that is a silly mistake in a maker. But yeah, we don't want to discuss what changes we've made, just in case any of you do join our league. We don't want to give it away because we're competitive little mofos. But we have had a little discussion with each other. We've decided that we have swapped a couple of players out. I think only probably one each. I'm not sure.
You can only make one.
Yeah, because obviously there's only one free, so you can make one a week, or you can, I think, accrue it up to 3. I think, Jake.
And you can lose points or something, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. You have to pay for it otherwise, and it's pretty crap. So yeah, we thought that we'll keep this going. It's not going to be something that we spend a lot of time on. It's more just a. Oh look, here you go. So what I will say though, Jakey, is instead of screenshotting it on my computer, it's a pain in the ass to get that done. As you can see, these are our screenshots from our phone app. Obviously, as you can see, because of the messenger thing. So what we'll do is, if we just screenshot them to each other or something like that, just so I can save them on the computer, ready for next week, then that's ideal. So yeah, Jakey's hoping that he can pick up a couple of extra points.
I've made some changes. I've made one change, and you've
got a good side there. I mean, Alderweireld got you a fucking hell of a lot of points there, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, Spurs done a hell of a well for you. I think Richie's a great shout as well, by the way. I think Richie's going to do well this season at Newcastle, as long as he doesn't do those stupid little schoolboy things. Got to put Trent Alexander in there. Trent Alexander, or the Liverpool guy, yeah, he's probably dirt cheap.
He's the guy who scored that free. He's that guy who
scored yesterday, didn't he?
Against Hoffenheim, not for Hoffenheim.
I'm joining your league. No worries, Matty boy. No worries, dude. Yeah. So there's he's probably cheap as well, though. Actually, it's a good shout because he's gonna play all season. I would have thought. Kept my season in. My first change is to get rid of Hart. Yeah, don't blame him, Matty Flynn. He looked terrible. I've got to be honest. My other goalkeeper's Fabianski. And I don't even know why I kept Elliot in, because I knew they had Spurs. So I meant to put Fabianski in. The real shocker of it is I could have had an extra 4 points because Fabianski got 6 points. Elliot got 2. I don't even know why I kept Elliot in there. I'm really surprised that happened. I must have swapped it, got distracted or something, and then just left it and thought that I did it. But yeah, so I could have had an extra couple of points.
I went to change Defoe because I thought he was supposed to be injured, which is why he only got 1 point for Hernandez.
Yeah, he came off the bench, I think, didn't he?
Too late. Yeah.
The thing is, I don't know how much Defoe's going to play this season. He is cracking on. He will get goals, though. But we'll just have to wait and see. But we're not going to spend too much time on this. It's just more a bit of fun. Bit of fun more than anything.
It's got to be a bit of fun because Chewy's winning, so...
Yeah, Chewy's winning. Jakey did say, we'll leave it out this week. I was like, no. no.
We've got to let him have something. I mean,
we've got to let Chewy have something. Jakey's killing the predictions, so right. Okay, so we're going to move on to the predictions. Again, it probably won't take too long, this bit, which is probably good because we're about where we want to be. We want to be like finishing around the 10 o'clock-ish mark, not like 11 o'clock-ish like we were last week. So we've managed to bolster out the show a little bit, which is ideal. So we're going to move on to the predictions. We're both going to say our own predictions and maybe like a little bit of thought on why. So it shouldn't take too long at all. So here we go with week 2 predictions from Jakey and Chewy. Okay, so week 2, first game up. I believe these are in order of when they're going to play. So I believe the Swansea and Man United games are early doors on Saturday. Is that the 12:30 kickoff? So
I think so.
Obviously, myself, I've gone for a 3-0 win for Man United. The reason being is obviously Man United have started ridiculously well for me. So I've gone 3-0. I think they're going to be way too much for Swansea. Swansea haven't done a hell of a lot of buying. So yeah, that's my prediction, 3-0. Jakey,
I've gone 2-0, mainly because Man United do often struggle at Swansea, and they are playing away from home. So you know it could be could be a good. I mean, it could go anyway. It could. You never know
Yeah.
what happens to Swansea the way they play.
Swansea are one of those bogey teams that you literally,
Yeah.
especially at home.
And Swansea is a team Man United always struggle against, and
Fair
that's where my 2-0 got to.
Like that. So then next up we've got Bournemouth versus Watford, and mine's literally just off the back of the Liverpool game. I thought Watford were fantastic for me. I mean, I've gone 2-0 Bournemouth there, and I wouldn't be surprised if Akaka gets another goal this weekend. I really wouldn't. That's my prediction there.
With both your prediction for Watford. I suppose you think Watford are going to win like 9-0 or something, don't you, Daniel?
It'll be a draw again, he says.
It'll be a draw again. My first thing actually on here, I've gone for 2-1 as you can see, but you spelled Bournemouth wrong.
I missed out on me.
2-1. I wasn't really sure. I thought last week there was lots of goals. Watford looked a bit shaky defensively. I thought Bournemouth, they didn't really show much last week, but Afobe, I don't think is one of the best strikers in the league. So yeah, I seem to. I just noticed I got a lot of goals.
You have got a fucking shed load, haven't you? I didn't even realise till you said that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So there
I
we
think
go.
that's.
So Leicester versus Brighton. Obviously, we all know that Leicester can pack a goal this season so far. Yeah. Brighton for me were so defensive. I think that because obviously Leicester are going to be looking to pick as many wins up as they possibly can this season. I think that going forward they were very, very good. The reason I've gone for the 3-0 is because if Brighton 2 decide to play like they did against City, I don't think Leicester will not try and put the nail in the coffin personally. So I've gone for 3-0.
I've gone 3-1. I think Leicester, as you say, Leicester can pack a punch up top. But I also think they look quite frail defensively. And that's where I think that Brighton might nick a goal, maybe early on, maybe late on. I don't know.
Enough.
Something like that. I think Brighton might nick a goal.
They didn't even fucking attack City, though, to be fair. Maybe it'll be a rebound.
Yeah. We got shot spotted. Was it May? No games. I think
that's very true, actually.
Because last week the games, most of the teams packed a little punch.
They did. I mean, this week everyone seemed like they had goals
I was actually.
He's right though. No nil-nils is interesting.
Quite a lot. There was quite a bit where I was debating on it, and but I went for it. I mean, there's only 2 teams I've got not scoring this week, which I didn't realise when I was doing these. I think Jesus
I've got 4.
I've just gave myself a pen. I put a pen in my hand.
Gave myself a pen. I allowed myself to use a pen this week.
It was quite dodgy though. Look at them. I think I'd done it on Monday, didn't I? I done it Monday evening.
Yeah, early doors, mate. It was early doors, yeah.
Done it about 10:30. I didn't have much. I just looked at the fixture and just writ down scores. Where were we? I think we're Southampton, West Ham.
Yeah, we are. Southampton. Sorry, mate. I can hear my kids screaming like anything upstairs.
Oh,
so Sosa's about, but she sounds like she's having a right hissy fit. My little girl does. Right, Southampton versus West Ham. I've gone for a 1-1 draw, purely because I think West Ham have got it in them. But I also thought Southampton were missing a lot of chances. I think, if anything, me personally, I think Southampton will come out victors if it isn't a draw. Yeah.
I've actually got West Ham. I thought West Ham, they looked hungry. They just didn't.
Were outplayed.
They just, I thought Man United were that much quality, and I thought Southampton didn't look good last weekend. I thought they might get a little goal.
Cheeky little one.
But West Ham, I think they looked hungry enough, and especially Hernandez, he definitely wanted a goal last week. He definitely was going for it, but it just didn't fall into place for them. So I think they might get a win this week.
Fair dues. So Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. I've gone for a 2-1 win. I know Liverpool didn't look great, but Palace, although they looked good, they didn't get any goals whatsoever. I think Liverpool will be a little bit too much for them again this weekend.
I got Liverpool Palace 1-1. I didn't think Liverpool were very good last week.
Noted by the scoreline there.
I don't take anything away from Watford. They were really good, but I don't think Liverpool were really at the races defensively.
Nah, Liverpool were terrible.
And I think Palace are definitely a 3-0 loss. They're going to try and shake up their defence and get themselves a bit better.
Yeah,
And I think, that's where I've gone with a 1-1. That was the game I was considering a 0-0, I must be honest.
Fair dues. I mean, this was a 0-0 consideration for myself. I didn't actually go for it. I went for a score draw. But Burnley versus West Brom. I think obviously Burnley beating Chelsea, they're going to have their tails up. They're going to be spraying their dog heat all over the place.
Yeah.
And I thought West Brom looked very, very good. And we all know West Brom get a set play in the last third. They're scoring it generally. So I've gone for a score draw.
West Brom to win 2-1. I thought Burnley were really good last week, but they were playing against 10 men for how long?
Most of the game. 14th minute.
14th minute. So that's that's what, 75 minutes against 10 men, and they still let 2 goals in. And
to be fair, they did go down to 9.
And that's 9. And Burnley did let 2 goals in. And I thought West Brom looked quite strong. Because Pulis always sets up a team really well defensively.
Very true.
Builds from there. And I think that's where I've gone West Brom. I think 2-1. I think Burnley might nick a late goal.
Fair dues, mate. Fair dues. Okay, so Stoke City versus Arsenal. I've gone for a 2-1 purely. This one here, right, I'm really, really apprehensive about. Arsenal do not like going to the Britannia. I've gone for an Arsenal win purely because I think that we probably have got a little bit too much from this season. Although it is going to be cagey. I mean, this could go either way. Yeah. I think this could quite easily be a draw or even a Stoke win. It's one of those games for Arsenal that they don't like being bullied around, and Stoke are a bully side, you know?
They're a big, strong team,
Yeah.
I want Arsenal to win as well. 3-2. I thought Arsenal definitely looked frail at the back.
Definitely. I think we've got Mustafi to come back in though this week, haven't we?
Yeah. I think Stoke were a bit shaky last week. I think they might because they got Mark Hughes in charge.
Stoke haven't they?
Yeah. Same and Steve Bruce always get confused. Steve Bruce at Aston Villa. So they got Mark Hughes, and Mark Hughes will definitely try and get him into it. Stoke also don't really start very well.
That's very true, actually. It's probably the best time to get Stoke for Arsenal, actually, is early doors. That's a good shout.
So I got, and then Arsenal, obviously, they looked really good attacking and were quite frail at the back. So that's why I've gone for the goals again.
Fair dues, mate. Huddersfield versus Newcastle. Obviously, it's a replay of a championship affair that probably would have happened twice last season at minimum. I don't know any of the scorelines from these two. I know that Newcastle. I know that they won the championship last season, didn't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gone a draw just purely because I thought both teams looked very, very good. Obviously, Huddersfield beat Crystal Palace, but I thought Newcastle with 10 men were very, very good against a very strong second side finishers last season in Tottenham. So I've gone with a score draw, big score draw. I think that both teams will score. And these two are used to each other, so this could quite easily be another one of those 0-0s, to be honest.
So I just want to point out, actually, in the Arsenal Stoke one, I actually missed out when I allowed myself to use a pen.
Yeah,
I missed out, and I actually made that prediction about 2 minutes after waking up this morning. So yeah, I've gone Huddersfield to win 2-1.
That's true, Matty Flynn. We discussed that earlier, actually. Matty Flynn's just mentioned about the Stoke City side.
So on Newcastle, Huddersfield to win 2-1. Newcastle, they're missing. Huddersfield beat Newcastle 2-1 away, but lost 3-1 at home.
That's interesting, isn't it? Very strange. Yeah. That's not a bad result then for you, then, mate. 2-1.
I got Huddersfield to win 2-1 because Huddersfield looked really good last week. Newcastle, they're missing Shelvey, they're missing Lejeune possibly, and they're missing Paul Dummett as well, possibly, because both of those two got subbed off early. Yeah, he done his hamstring. I think he pulled up short, and then Lejeune, I don't know what happened to him, but.
Well, I think it was the ankle. I think it was the ankle challenge from Kane that
it was from
Looney.
But I'm not sure.
He walked off, so I think he'll be alright. I don't know whether he'll be alright this week, but I think you're right.
That's my thoughts on that one.
Huddersfield did look good. They did look good. Okay, so Spurs versus Chelsea. I thought Chelsea looked fucking terrible. I know that they got 2 goals back when they were down to 10-9 men. Morata looked hungry. As for the rest of the Chelsea side, I mean, if they don't buck their ideas up this week, Tottenham are going to see them off. Tottenham were obviously not fantastic in the first half against Newcastle, but at the moment their players looked a lot hungrier than what the Chelsea boys did. Although I do believe that Chelsea have got one of their new signings available this week, where they didn't last week. Was it one of the left back?
I don't know.
I can't remember. But I've gone for a 2-1. I think it will be. I think it'll be cagey, to be honest. London derby. But I think I see Tottenham coming out as winners all day long on this game.
Yeah. I got Tottenham 2-0. I think Chelsea, they've lost the captain. He's suspended. They've lost Fabregas. He's suspended. They don't have a brilliant squad depth as it is. I mean, last week they started a youth player, which actually makes a change for Chelsea. So they don't usually play them, but I don't think they got enough depth to especially handle Tottenham. And I think Tottenham actually beat them on their patch last season as well.
They did definitely, yeah. And City, they turned over a lot of the
they had a
top four, top six sides these days, I suppose.
2-0.
2-0 Tottenham. Okay, and then Man City versus Everton. Surely this game can't be as boring as the Brighton game. Surely. Although Everton are looking a little bit cagey, I think they need time to gel. That's why I've gone for another 2-0 win for City. I think that they're going to turn it on a little bit more, and I believe Benjamin Mendy is available for this one as well, so that's going to be another new sign of City looking forward. I think they can't possibly play as bad as they did against Brighton. I say bad, they can't possibly be as lackluster, I think is probably the best word. Like, you know, they weren't, and they can't do that against Everton. If they do, this prediction is going to be all wrong, because Everton will put the nail in the coffin. If they don't get shots on target and they don't threaten Pickford, then I think I can see this going completely the other way, mate. Because Rooney, let's be fair, he gets one chance, that boy can score. So I really do think that if City play like they did against Brighton, Everton will win this game. But I don't see it. I think that they'll come out fighting in this one. They know that they need to beat teams like Everton for sure. Yeah. They know that they can't be as patient with teams like Everton. So I think 2-0 City.
I would have been mental actually. I'm surprised I went for this.
You've gone nuts.
I got Man City to beat Everton 3-2. I think this game will be separated by 1 goal. Fair enough. After sort of thinking about Man City and how they played last, I don't know why I went for 3-2 to be honest. I think it's more likely to be 1-0 than 3-2. Yeah. But I think Everton, they got some strong teams, and I made this before Everton had signed Sigurdsson, because obviously that's only happened as we've been streaming. That's been
literally
announced.
Happened. That was announced as we were streaming.
So I mean,
Sigurdsson as well. I mean, is he going to be available this week? Presumably he will be. He must be match fit. He's been training with Swansea, isn't he?
Yeah. So I mean, it could possibly happen. I mean, Everton did look quite. They looked good in spells, but they definitely look like a team that needs time to gel. So
definitely,
I don't know.
Definitely, yeah.
That's a big one.
I do believe though, if City play like they did against
this weekend.
Yeah, how many have you got? That's a ridiculous amount. I'm not going to count them. There's too many. But I do think that if City play as poor as they did against Brighton, I think that Everton will make them drop points. With that said and done, it's an interesting set of fixtures this week, purely because Liverpool hate playing Crystal Palace. So Liverpool could end up being another couple of points short this week if they draw again. You've got Arsenal and Stoke, who could end up dropping points this weekend because they don't like playing Stoke, full stop, whether it's home or away. You've got Tottenham and Chelsea. You'd think that one of those two teams are definitely going to come out as victors. We've both got it as Tottenham. So you can probably see Chelsea being 6 points adrift this weekend. That's a terrible start for them if that does happen. And Man City and Everton, obviously another one, could go either way. So you could see, I mean, the only one that you would say is pretty much a banker is Man United to beat Swansea. So you could end up seeing, I think, Man United being a minimum of possibly 2 points clear by the end of the weekend if the other teams don't do well. So it's a very, very good, interesting set of fixtures this week.
I actually just whacked all my scores into my calculator, and it's actually I got 32 goals.
32. Well, it was 31 this weekend, mate. So there's only one more. So it could possibly happen.
Also on Liverpool's, I didn't mention actually because I didn't actually realise when I put the scores that this was before I noticed. Liverpool actually played away in Germany yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
And they're playing So that could
And
affect them.
I
as
might add that it was a full Liverpool squad as well. It was pretty much the same team from what I saw from the lineups. It was pretty much the same team that lined up against Watford on the weekend. So with squad rotation and whatnot, either you're going to see a few boys that probably didn't play this week or last week, or they're going to be relatively fatigued. I wouldn't say too much for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that it's definitely going to hinder them if they do play the same team again, mate. I mean, that's what 3 games in 10 days.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 games in 3. Fuck's sake.
In 7
3
days.
games in a week.
Yeah, 3 games in a week for the same 3 players. I mean, you know, I know they're professional footballers and all. Well, these guys train a hell of a lot. You know, they train pretty much daily. They get maybe the odd day off, rest day. I know that they don't train all day long, but you know, let's be fair though. Liverpool were playing. Liverpool were playing Europa League for quite a while last season, weren't they?
No, I don't think they were in it last season.
Weren't,
I think
were
they finished the season before.
Yeah, you're right, mate. They weren't. So with that in mind, you've probably got a shout there. They don't like Crystal Palace anyway, mate. I mean, I remember they were literally pipped to win the Premier League, and Crystal Palace prevented it. It was the Crystal Palace loss that literally put the nail in the coffin, wasn't it? Because the spiral was from the Chelsea game when Gerrard slipped, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then it just downward spiral from there. I think it was Palace that put the nail in the coffin. Was it like 4-2 or 4-3 or something?
It was 3-0. It was Liverpool 3-0 at half time, and then Palace just come and
season before. That's right.
Season before was when they were in the Europa League. Yeah, and I think it was season before that when they finished second. That was funny.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap up from the stream tonight, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. Matt Flynn's just said there he's off to add myself to the Fantasy Leads. Cracking stream, fellas. So it's always good to get the good support. We've been around the same sort of viewers this week as well, Jakey. There was about 7-8 in total at one point. We've had a constant 4 again. So you know, so far for me and Jakey, we feel as though this show's going really, really well. It's still new. Hopefully when everybody gets out there and actually starts hearing about it and sharing about it, hopefully it'll get a few more. I think it had about 102 views or something last week for a debut show. It's not too bad at all. Danny Boy just said I found it shit. So yeah.
Again, it's one of those things we don't give a fuck who's watching.
Yeah, we're still gonna do. We're gonna still do it anyway, because we like talking football.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay 400 quid to watch us.
No, you don't. 400 quid. It's more than that.
It's more than that. That's for the cheap seats. That's for the ones up the top that you don't.
Yeah, that's for the cloud seats. That is.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, thanks a lot for you 4 guys that are still watching. It's much appreciated. I hope you have a great evening. I am hopefully going to try and do some sort of gaming stream this week. I know I didn't do anything yesterday. I am in the process of packing and trying to sell some stuff, so it's kind of taking up a lot of my time at the moment. But fingers crossed I will get some sort of gaming stream done for you this week. I do apologise, nothing came last week. And guaranteed to see Jakey on the MonStars channel this weekend, as you do every weekend. So yeah, bye-bye for me, and let's hope for another cracking weekend of football.
Before we actually do, and I know there's only 4 people watching, but I think next week we might have to do ours a bit earlier because I actually go away on the Wednesday.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. Yeah, we'll get it done on the Tuesday. It's no problem at all. I mean, worst case scenario, mate, I can actually set the stream up when I come home from work. Maybe not all the screens, and everything, but I can actually set it up like as a stream for the future, if you know what I mean, like an event. Yeah. So that will actually notify people that we are going to stream on Tuesday. Yeah. So yeah, it's not too much of an issue, mate. Tuesday should be just as easy enough to get people in. I'm sure it's not going to be too much of an issue.
No.
But yeah, so Tuesday will be the show next week, but then it will continue as a Wednesday there on after. As a Wednesday, yeah. Mainly so we can obviously fit the Champions League stuff in when that starts as well, really. Wednesday seems like a good day to do it, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's the perfect day midweek, yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, guys, we are going to catch you later. Thanks a lot for joining in, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye from Chewy.
See ya.